Trigger Happy Havoc as we're playing on the 1.2 Reload PS4 version. Dear God, I literally went to sleep and had like nightmares about what was gonna happen because I have horrible feelings about this. Horrible, horrible feelings. Another life or death game to uncover a killer. Taka bolted out of the locker room. As everyone made their way to the scene, it felt like no time had passed at all. It was like my sense of time had just taken a wing and flown away. Just taken wing and flown away. When I finally came back to myself, I saw everybody had the same look of confusion, fear, and anger. We all just stood there, gathered around Chihiro's body.
Damn.
Damn it! I couldn't keep her safe! So there's another victim! Which means they are now in the same position once again. Fuck, man!
What the?
What the fuck is this? Okay. It's a dream! It's a dream! It's all just a dream! In fact, I haven't even been born yet! I haven't even remember being alive! Shut up. Alrighty. I'm going to look at those letters on the wall because that stands out so much. Like, mofo. What the hell?
So...
I don't think it's any kind of dying message. It's just too strange. But you know, that thing about writing bloodlust in blood. Doesn't it sound familiar? She told us about it! She told us about it, and I feel like somebody is using it against us. Murder. Oh! Byakuya, did you write this? Mister? In the scene of each crime, the word bloodlust is written in the victim's own blood. I think you wrote this bit. They're like a ghost, attacking suddenly and slipping away before the police can catch up to them. And what nickname did the internet give this mysterious serial killer? I don't know! I'm not a weird serial killer!
What?
Genocide Jack! Because everybody's got to name their serial killers with the name Jack. Mitsuki! Sorry guys, somebody is sniffing around. Genocide Jack, the murderous fiend whose grisly attacks were famous all across the country. The ultimate murderous fiend, creating a reputation of abnormal, downright cruel killings.
What is this?
Then this is some copycat killer trying to imitate Genocide Jack's style? You could go with that, I think. I don't think anybody's gonna argue with it, but why would anyone do that? Perhaps it's the work of the real Genocide Jack. Perhaps it's the work of somebody who brought it up in the first place, trying to trick me! I still don't think you're a killer, but I think you tampered with my crime scene now. Like, dude, that is so, just, it leads to you because you're the one who brought it up. Well, she also brought it up, but you're the one who actually said shit. Yeah. The real? What? Are you saying Genocide Jack is here at the school?
No way!
There's no way. But going so far as to write bloodlust scenes, I'm surprised at their stupidity.
Well,
I can't imagine a worse situation than dealing with stupid murder. What is it now? Toko! Hina was pointing towards the entrance to the girls' locker room. Toko was the last to arrive, and now she was standing there. No, why? Your face, lady, your face! God dunk. She fainted. That did not sound good. Toko! Hina Shiner rushed over to the collapsed Toko and started trying to shake her awake. Toko, are you okay? Come on, wake up!
Oh.
Oh, that's right. I just remembered what she said about how she faints anytime she sees blood.
Oh.
So she's a hemophobic. I imagine she does not want to watch many water films. This isn't a violation of the rules, right? I mean, she technically passed out somewhere besides the room. No, I think it should be okay. The regulations prohibit sleeping, like, on purpose. So since she didn't faint on purpose, it doesn't count. Gotcha.
Just a second.
Toko, can you hear me? Hey, you gotta wake up! As if she heard her, Toko suddenly shot awake. As in, she literally jumped from where she was lying. It was such a strange reaction, I was at a total loss for words. So am I! She leapt straight up in the air, changing her stance as she did. In no time flat, she was just standing up. That's creepy! That's creepy! Ignoring the physical contortions she had to go through, her motions were totally haphazard. Huh? What? Sorry about that. I was so shocked, you know? It happens, right? Was I the only one? Toko, are you okay? I'm fine. Yeah. Oh, is that dead body? Hey, are you dead? Okay, I think we have a psychopath here.
What the heck?
She must have hit her head real hard when she fainted. The world has a front and a back, a top and lining and a bottom, a sea of truth and a web of lies.
Well.
This is, quite concerning. I mean, she sounds completely different. No. Everything's fine. At least the shadow's all gone. That's a good thing, right?
I see.
It's clear to me that everything is not fine. Your eyes seem strangely vacant. It might be best if we take her back to her room for the time being.
So,
I don't mind taking her, but could someone help me? If you need help, I don't mind. Taka, could you help me? What? She totally ignored me! Very well. You take care of the girl and the rest of us can begin the investigation the right way. Can I assume nobody has a problem with leaving Sakura and Mondo on guard duty again? Hold on a second. Rushing to an investigation? The mastermind isn't behind that. After what happened last time, surely you realize that.
Don't make me repeat myself.
There's no question that Chihiro was murdered by someone among us. Isn't that right, Monoku?
Of course.
Right is right! Let's take it as a bad thing. It's just a fact of life. Because that's how graduation works. Then it's happened again. Is this what you're saying? That another one of us killed? A fellow classmate? What? Does that freak you out? You guys got no balls, you know that? There's just nothing down there at all. Well, I'll let you pray in mine if you want. Actually, I don't have it either. Sorry.
Stop talking.
Stop monologuing and give us what you came here to give us. You did bring it, right? Yeah, I sure did, chum. It's the Allow me to present the next Monokuma file. I know how much you must be looking forward to it.
see ya later.
So please do your very tippy-tappy best on this investigation.
No way.
Do we really gotta do another investigation? Unfortunately, yes. Examining the corpse of one of our friends? Having to suspect all of our other friends? Apparently so, lady. Apparently so.
Why?
I hate this. I can't take it anymore. I hate it too.
Help me.
I've had enough. I'm getting out of here.
Hey.
Where do you plan on going? There's nowhere to run.
Such ignorance.
Just accept it already. After all, blood is just liquid. A dead body is a simple object. You're very enthusiastic about all this, are you not?
Naturally.
How can I not be? If we don't unmask the culprit, we all die. That's true, but to jump into it so...
What?
What? Do you want to die? No, I do not.
Such ignorance.
Fine, then go off and die somewhere right now. Go ahead, you're a waste of space. Screw you!
Damn you!
Dead body is an object?
Piece of shit!
Chihiro wasn't an object. Show a little respect or I'll beat some into ya.
Calm down.
Everyone stop bickering. Listen, there's some truth to what Byakuya said. Kyoko?
Because...
If we don't solve the mystery and find the killer, our own lives are forfeit. And And if Byakuya is right that Genocide Jack is somehow the one who killed Chihiro,
That's right.
then unless we do something, more victims could start piling up.
What?
Forget more victims! If we mess this up, we're all dead meat!
Hey! Hey!
Hold on! If that's your worry, you don't gotta worry any longer! In any one killing game, the guilty party may only kill a maximum of 2 people! What? I don't remember any rule like that.
Actually...
I just came up with it! I mean, if one person went around and killed everyone, your lovely student life would be all over, right? The new rule has been added to the regulations menu. You can still have somebody kill up to 2 people!
So then.
In that case, why not limit it to 1 person?
Hey,
Well, in a good mystery, you don't want to miss out on at least the potential of a serial killer angle. No! Just what totally murder that possibility!
Punishment is
Very well
waiting
for
for
now.
you.
I'll catch you guys at the class trial. I can't say I understand his thinking, but if we can kill up to 2 people, then 1 more person's life could still be in danger.
Interesting.
Which is definitely not good. We need to uncover the culprit before something else happens.
You son of a bitch!
You need to shut the fuck up!
So,
Well, for now, Taka and me are gonna drop Toko off at her room. Nice! I'm gonna get dropped off!
there is nothing to be done.
We have no time to stand around here. We must begin our investigation tout de suite. If we do not solve the mystery of who killed Chihiro,
Is that okay?
then we will quickly follow her into the afterlife. That's true! I hate this, but if I want to survive, me and everyone else, we have to do it. We don't got any other choice. First of all, I better check the Monokuma file to see exactly what's going on. The victim was Chihiro Fujisaki. The time of death was estimated around 2 a.m. The body was discovered in the girls' locker room on the 2nd floor of the school. Discovered! Not actually killed there. Thanks for the hint. The cause of death was a blow to the head with a blunt object. She was killed instantly. That's all it says. Well, it's not like there's any point in complaining about it. No matter what, I gotta do what I gotta do. Monokuma file number 2 has been added to the truth bullet section of your handbook. Hey, Makoto, do you have a second? Huh? Did you need something from me?
Naturally.
Of course. Life without purpose is quite dull, you know. So what did you need? I'm going to let you cooperate with me during my investigation. Okay! Huh?
What?
I'm purchasing your talent. The same talent which allowed you to solve Sayaka's case. Solve? No,
Stop talking.
You seem to have some limited use, which is why I've chosen you. You have the honor of contributing to my investigation. So you're inviting me to come with you. You're doing it in the most arrogant way possible, though.
Let's go.
Now then, shall we get started? But we need to get moving. There's no time to be standing around. I don't really know what just happened, but it looks like I'll be working with Byakuya on this one. Well, fine by me. Screw you, buddy. The word bloodlust is written on the wall in blood. What's the meaning behind it? Bloodlust. Alright, then we'll look at the body. I can feel the life draining out of my own body. It's a dead body. Chihiro's dead body.
Very strange.
The more I look at it, the more strange it all seems. This must be Genocide Jack's handiwork. Screw you! I don't think so! Well, but
What?
we're not sure he did it. Is that what you want to say? I wonder about that. Screw you too, buddy! The poster's got some blood on it. It must have happened during the murder. The poster does not seem like it would be in the woman's locker room. Like, in what world do you think girls would have that kind of poster up? That seems like something from a guy's locker room. Interesting enough. Alright, let's look at the murder weapon. There's a dumbbell on the floor and this is a blood stain. There's blood stain on the dumbbell. The Monokuma file said a blow to the head with a blunt object is what killed her. Does that mean the dumbbell was actually the murder weapon?
That's right.
I don't imagine it could be anything else. Locker room dumbbell has been added to the truth bullet section of your handbook. Okay. Now obviously let's look at the blood stains on the freaking carpet. there's a fresh blood stain on the carpet. It must have been splattered in the blood during the murder. And that's it. Alright, let's talk to Sakura. She's the one who knows this room the best. They use this locker room all the time. Now it's become the site of Chihiro's death. But why was she killed in the locker room? Actually, if you think about it, she could have been killed somewhere else than carried here. She was very light, that is true. It wouldn't be hard for someone to carry her, but still.
Well.
I still think she came here on her own by choice. What makes you say that? She'd been talking a lot about how she wanted to get stronger. So you're saying she came here to exercise. But according to the Monokuma file, apparently she was killed around 2 in the morning. Would she really have been exercising that late?
Perhaps.
Hina or myself are usually in the locker room during the day, so she was probably avoiding it then. Avoiding it? Although we invited her to join us more than once, she never showed up. So I can only assume she was trying to avoid us. And instead, she came to the exercise in the middle of the night.
However.
Perhaps, but it's difficult for me to imagine she would have come alone. She did want to start exercising, but she specifically mentioned she couldn't do it by herself. She needed support from others. So you're saying she could have come here in the middle of the night to train in secret, but that she also would have come with someone else. It's a possibility, I think. Sakura's account has been added to the truth bullet section of your handbook. Alright, Mondo is the next one because he made that promise. Dude had a real complex about being weak. Excuse me! Dude, I'm keeping an eye on that. I'm watching what you say from now on. You heard Chihiro talking about it, right? All I need to get stronger. Yeah, I do remember she said that more than once. Sure did, which I guess explains the trip down here. But did she really need to get stronger that badly? You already mentioned it, but she was a girl after all. Most girls aren't that strong. I don't know, man. Haven't really thought about that stuff. The cause of Chihiro's complex. I can't help wondering what it might be. Mondo's account has been added to the truth bullet section of your handbook. Now I believe it's time for us to move on. Huh? Already?
What?
New clues won't magically appear by standing around here. We need to check every aspect of this case. That's true, but...
Let's go.
If you're satisfied, let's hurry up and proceed. He's so pushy! I got caught up with the wrong person this time. So this is our next location. Huh? This place is related to the investigation? Figure it out yourself. It's no fun if you don't, right? ... I want to know how somebody got a card reader. If I remember right, this card reader is meant to work with our handbooks, right?
What?
Do you have an issue with it? If so, you should take it up with Monokuma. He said that, then quickly and sharply clapped his hands together.
Did you call for me?
You called for me? Has he been domesticated?
That's right.
It seems that Makoto has a question.
You need something?
Sure, what's up? Well, it's just about the card reader. Yep, the card reader has been designed to interface with each of your e-handbooks. You can only enter the locker room corresponding to the gender listed on your individual handbook. And it's impossible for 2 people in a row to go through while the door is unlocked, correct?
Unbelievable.
If there were some sort of erotic terrorist on the prowl, the ceiling-mounted Gatling gun would initiate a Swiss cheese slaughter. And the school regulations prohibit anyone from lending someone else their handbook, correct?
Of course.
Correctly correct. So then, that means only girls can go in the girls' locker room and only boys can go in the boys' locker room. In other words, Chihiro's body being found in the girls' locker room means... Hey, Makoto, I can see right through you. See right through me? Allow me to tell you what you're thinking. Since Chihiro was found in the girls' locker room, the killer must have been able to get in
So,
there.
in other words...
As such, the killer must be one of the girls. Did I get it right? That's still not my opinion. My opinion is that she got killed in the boys' locker room. I want to know how the hell she got in the boys' locker room. And if she's a girl. Because, gender. You're making me question genders of the characters!
Such ignorance.
Good lord, you're simple. Screw you too, buddy! But am I wrong? You should pay closer attention to the regulations. The answer has been in front of you the entire time. Loaning your e-handbook to another student is strictly prohibited. Only the act of loaning a handbook is prohibited. Borrowing someone else's is perfectly fine. No! I would expect nothing less from the prodigal son of the noble Togami family. created on purpose, didn't you? To add a little more excitement to things?
Yeah!
You're treating me like a puny little appetizer instead of the main course I am. Now then, since the dead can't actually talk, they're not people anymore. They're things. So, you're considering her a thing. So somebody could have moved her into that room and it wouldn't have been two people. It would have been a person and a thing. So the gun wouldn't have gone off. Thank you! God! Get it? Got it? Good! Wait, hold on. You're saying that's a loophole, but in order to borrow something from someone, then that means someone has to loan it, so,
Why you?
So sleepy! Just listening to you makes me want to pass out. Be more like Bianca and get your poop together! Poop together.
Unbelievable.
Or else I'll charge you with criminal negligence! No more questions! Figure out the rest on your own damn self!
That's fine.
Well, I know you are unfortunately lacking in mental facilities, so I'll fill you in myself. Screw you! I have a lot of mental facilities, douche! Let's head to the main hall. The main hall? That'll help you understand what's going on. Card reader has been added to the truth bullet section of your handbook. We came to the main hall. So, what are we looking for here? I mean, I have to figure it out for myself. There's a mailbox here. Could there be something inside? It's an e-handbook? No, wait, there's 3 of them, but what are they doing here? So you finally found them. Huh? Did you know these were here? I happened to find them by chance myself the other day. It seems there's a system in place where the handbooks of the dead students get delivered to this mailbox. So then these 3 handbooks belong to Junko, Leon, and Sayaka. You can go ahead and confirm it yourself. I immediately turned on one of the handbooks, and when I did... Sayaka. You're right, this is Sayaka's handbook. Now do you understand? This is the key to the loophole that I revealed earlier. Yeah, I feel I'm starting to get it. You should pay closer attention to the regulations. The answer's been in front of you the whole time! Loaning your e-handbooks. Loaning is prohibited. Borrowing someone else's is perfectly fine. I see, yeah. Now I understand. Main hall e-handbooks have been added to the truth bullet section of your handbook. Then what's the point of the handbooks if you can just easily come down here, borrow somebody of the opposite genders and use it to get around, and there's no record that it was you using your own handbook?
What?
Hold on a second. What's wrong?
Very strange.
That's strange. One of the handbooks won't turn on. Is it broken? Whose is it? The other handbook showed Junko's name when I started it up. And the other one won't turn on because it must be Leon's, right?
I see.
It would make sense, yes. After all, he did get plummeted with dozens of baseballs. Pummeled with baseballs. The memory of it came flooding back. The cruel punishment which led to Leon's death. The execution that the mastermind I don't know how to say that word. A cruel and heartless death. You're right. It wouldn't be surprising for the handbook to break during that kind of assault.
Damn it!
Hey! Hey!
Now
What? Daddy, handbook is essential to a student's life here. Crucial, integral, instrumental, and super big deal. There's no way it would break that easily. But it did.
That's impossible!
If I say it won't break, then it wouldn't freaking break. It can withstand up to 10 tons of pressure, and it's waterproof to 100 meters, okay? I don't care how many baseballs you hit at it with that. That wouldn't do crap. Oh, but even my racing handbook does have one single weak point. It does.
I can't hear you!
But it's a secret. I wouldn't want you to go breaking any more handbooks.
What?
Then Leon must have broken it somehow without realizing what its weakness was, right? Hard to say. You know what I think? I think his handbook isn't actually broken.
What?
But you might ask, how could that be? Leaving the question hanging in the room, Monokuma disappeared. What just happened? Monokuma said it's not broken, but it's an undeniable fact that it's not turning on.
That's fine.
I don't see any connection to the case, so it doesn't matter for now. you think so. Either way, something about it still bothers me. Hello, Kotetsu Tokai. Welcome to the stream. Broken Knee Handbook has been added to the Truth Bullet section of your handbook. Okay, then this should be enough to get things rolling. Let's begin our investigation in earnest and track down the true culprit. Okay? I'm positive I'm starting to get an idea that you have something to do with at least hiding this, but... Yeah, we need to find out who killed Chihiro. To be exact, not quite. Huh? Not quite. Not quite! Oh, you think that I'm going to believe you? What do you mean by that, Byakuya? To be exact, not quite. Certainly I want to reveal Chihiro's killer, but more precisely... I want to discover the true identity of Genocide Jack. Then you really think... You truly believe Genocide Jack is the one that killed Chihiro? I doubt it!
Don't make me repeat myself.
Absolutely. I have no doubt that Genocide Jack is the culprit in this case. I want to react to that. That murderous fiend is Genocide Jack, right?
What?
There's nobody else it could be. A murderous fiend who kills again and again using bizarre and brutal methods. They're like a ghost, attacking suddenly and slipping away before the police can catch up to them. And what nickname did the internet give this mysterious serial killer? Genocide Jack. They say that he's killed thousands of people, but that's gotta be an urban legend. Still, could one of us really be a demented psychotic killer like that? You're not wrong to wonder. But words mean little right now. I have something that will prove it, and I can show you. Oh, we're talking to you again? I want to know what the hell. What do you mean by that? To be exact, not quite. Certainly, I want to discover true identity. You really think?
Don't make me repeat.
I'm acting. Is there really proof? There's somewhere I'd like to take you. This will provide all the evidence you need.
It's all clear now.
Evidence that Genocide Jack is the one that killed Chihiro. Evidence? Is something like that really... Hey, you two! Big trouble! Need your help!
I don't have time to play with you.
We're busy. Leave us alone.
I mean...
But it's an emergency! Emergency! Come on, please, you gotta help me!
Please!
Just calm down, okay, Hina?
I mean...
But it's an emergency! An emergency? What happened?
Well...
Something's wrong with Toko. She's acting super strange. Well, I mean, she was acting pretty strange earlier, right? Could it be worse than earlier? What should we do, Byakuya? I was always curious about the series too, Kotetsu Tokai. I've never played this before. I got told by a lot of people that I should play it because it's got a style like Ace Attorney, which I'm guessing is that trial style that I've already gone through. It's definitely not Ace Attorney, but it's a murder mystery, and I'm okay with that. What should we do, Byakuya?
Very strange.
Since it's Toko, I must admit I'm intrigued. I suppose we can take a second to see what's going on with her. Sure.
Don't make me repeat myself.
Screw you too, buddy. I didn't expect that. I thought for sure he'd just say no, and that'd be the end of it.
Yeah!
Okay, come on, hurry! Wait for us, Hina!
Let's go.
It looks like she's headed to the dorms, to Toko's room most likely. You're right. There we go. Oh no, I'm going to talk to Allie first, because I need more information! You guys are too slow! I think you're just too fast. So, what's this emergency?
So,
Well, after it happened in the girls' locker room, we left Toko in her room so she could lay down. After a while, we came back to check on her, and see what she was doing, but when we did, it was weird. She refused to come out. She kept saying all this weird stuff. Weird stuff?
That's fine.
We should try talking to ourselves. Yeah, good idea. I guess we'll give it a shot. Door swung open slowly and silently. Creepy! Holy crap! An aura of negativity flowed out from behind the door, forcing a gasp out of me.
What? Oh, nothing. It's just that Hina was really worried about you holding yourself up in your room.
leave me alone.
I love your voice, Bryce. As Makoto.
Yeah, sure thing. But could you open up just for a second?
won't allow it.
Huh?
I won't let Genocide Jack have control.
And just like that, she slammed the door in my face. What was that? She's been acting like that the whole time when I rang a little while ago. I'll drive out the killer. Drive out the murderous fiend. It doesn't make any sense, right? I was afraid to leave her in there alone, so I tried to bust down her door. But it felt like something was holding it shut on the other side. I couldn't even budge it. Toko was scared enough to even bar her door. Does she think the same thing as Byakuya? Does she think the serial killer Genocide Jack really murdered Chihiro? Is that why Toko is so scared? Whatever it is, I'm really worried about her. Isn't there anyone who might be able to persuade her? Yes. Hi there, mister. She's got a crush on you. I'm gonna talk to you. I'm gonna look at your crotch, though. It's weird. Hey, Byakuya, do you think you could ask her? To come out of her room, I mean? Dot, dot, dot.
That's fine.
Sure, whatever. Huh? You're gonna talk to her, Byakuya? Wow, I guess you can be nice when you want to. Dot, dot, dot. Byakuya stood in front of her door, not making a sound, and pressed the doorbell. After a few minutes...
What do you want?
Leave me alone! You're all so annoying! Bakula! What the hell? Bakula?
It's Byakuya.
I'm sorry. I couldn't keep our promise. Don't worry. Never again. I won't let Genocide Jack have control ever again. And with that, the door slammed shut. That doesn't make me feel better! It makes me feel like there's a bunch of conspiracies around this. Even Byakuya couldn't pull it off. There's nothing we can do. Let's get back to the investigation. Hold on! Hey, Byakuya, what was Toko talking about just now? Something about a promise?
What?
I have no idea. Another one of her delusions, I'm sure. I am sure you lied to my face! What did you promise? But...
Stop talking.
if I say I don't know, that means I don't know. Just let Hina take care of her. Oh, yeah, okay. I'll stay here and keep an eye on her.
Let's go.
Well then, let's go. That wait for a reply, Byakuya sped away. Byakuya! And I hurried to catch up. I tried to talk to him several times as we walked, but he didn't even look back, let alone say anything. He just kept on walking towards his destination. Like a boss! He's a douche boss! Finally, his feet brought him to a stop in front of a certain room. The library, isn't it? I knew it! The library? Come on, let's go in. If I remember, on the other side of this door, it's the archive, right? Hurry up and go inside. Oh, here?
Let's go.
It all makes sense once you're inside. I doubt it, but hey. Well, there's so many books and files. And so much dust, too.
So, in other words...
I would say there's enough value in this place to endure the dust. There's a wooden box. It's empty. Although judging by the smudges and the dust, it looks like there was something inside. I wonder what it was. There was an extension cord plugged in there. It proved very useful while I was in the library. An extension cord, huh? Huh? It's a desk lamp. Oh yeah, it's the same one I saw Byakuya using in the library before.
What?
Do you have a problem with that lamp? It was here before, then I moved it over there. It's too dark over there, so I thought I'd put it to good use. Well, I got a coin. That's what matters. I got a coin out of that. If you pay attention to your surroundings, you're sure to discover the value for yourself. confused. There's so many files stuffed into the shelf. What's in all these
That's
things?
enough.
Those documents are dangerous. Dangerous. They detail all the people who control the world from behind the scenes. Dangerous truth for a commoner. You mean like members of the Diet or something? No, I mean the ones with the real power, the secret council controlling everything from the shadows. If you're ready to be disappeared for it, take a look. There are some very interesting people in there. You're just kidding, right? Am I? I'll just let it go for now. Do you have a problem with that lamp? See, before I moved it, it's too dark over there, so I thought I'd put it to good use. I don't know. This shelf is set type of files. Without thinking it, I picked one at random. Ah, so you have a sharp eye, indeed, to select that file. And look!
That's right.
That's the report on the presidential assassination. The original is kept at the National Library. It won't be declassified for another 30 years. Are you sure you want to look at it now? There's no telling what crosshairs you might wind up in for peeking at it. Without making a sound, I returned the file to the shelf. We can do because Byakuya doesn't want to talk. It's in your surrounding, you should discover the true value for yourself. Yeah, I don't see any other point in here. There's a ton of thick files stuffed into the bookshelf. If you're thinking of looking through any of them, let me give you a little warning. These are files filled with blah, 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 blah. What do you mean? All these files are investigation reports related to different cold cases. Those are internal documents from police eyes only. They're not the kind of thing you'd expect to leak. Oh. So, are you finally beginning to understand the true splendor of this library? The entire reason I was interested in the library is because of this room right here. It's home to classified government documents, police records, things no ordinary person would ever see. Isn't it magnificent? This can't be for real, right?
Such ignorance.
That's your guys' problem. Anything that doesn't fit into your perceived reality, you label it a lie. Well, it's not that. It's not like I totally refuse to believe it, but, I mean, there's just so much. How could anyone have put this all together? I suppose it goes to show how much power Pope's Peak truly wields, or perhaps the mastermind may have wanted to provide us with enough entertainment to keep us from getting bored. No use, I can't keep up with all this. It's just too unreal. What's wrong? You still can't believe it? What about you? How can you believe it's so easy? Things that are usually impossible. What do you mean, usually? Usual, normal, ordinary, simple, those things don't exist anywhere in the real world. If you don't understand what they actually represent, you don't understand the nature of anything. You don't pull your punches, do you? Besides, what you consider unusual is based on your common sense. Yeah, I should be using my mic. Hold on, is my mic not working? Hold on. Is it not coming through? No, it's showing that it's coming through. Okay, no, my voice is coming through. I don't know. But what makes you think your own common sense applies to me at all? The documents gathered here are genuine, so I've reviewed them multiple times. Excuse me. Hold on a second. You're saying you've read these documents and more than once? But all this has to be like top secret confidential stuff, right? So why My family has a reading room just like this one at our home. Ours is bigger, of course, and not as dusty. Huh? Members of the Togami family have access to a variety of government-related documents. That includes foreign powers as well as domestic. How is that possible?
So, in other words,
I already told you, there's a secret council that controls the world from the shadows. My family is a member of that council. And I have within me the bloodline that will allow me to one day bend the world to my will. But to become such a ruler, I must know all the levels of this world, backwards and forwards. So whenever I have time, I like to review whatever documents and materials that interest me. Which is why I can proclaim without a doubt that the materials gathered here are the real thing. This is beyond believing or not believing. Byakuya is actually starting to scare me more than the actual mastermind. And what I always interested me the most were the cold cases and police reports. Reading through those reports has always been a hobby of mine since I was little. It's an excellent mental exercise. I've shown more than a few of these cases, solved more than a few of these cases just by reviewing the reports. And among all those reports, one of my recent favorites is the Genocide Jack case. As he talked, Byakuya grabbed a specific file from the shelf.
right.
This is a complete case file. Every single report surrounding the Genocide Jack case has been compiled in here. Because there are so many, allow me to quickly summarize the main points. To begin, there are two notable characteristics in every Genocide Jack murder. The first characteristic is that at every crime scene the word bloodlust is written in the victim's own blood. And the second is that when the victims are murdered, their bodies are suspended in a certain way. Bloodlust is written on blood and the victim's body is suspended. It's exactly the same as what happened to Chihiro. Save your surprise, the best part is yet to come. The second characteristic where the victims are suspended. The only ones who knew about that particular fact are members of police and other higher-ups. And you! You knew about that fact! You're making yourself so much more suspicious on at least tampering with my crime scene! WTF, dude! By all accounts, nobody in the media ever found out. Huh? In other words, no one on the news, no one online, nobody knew about that aspect of each crime. Only key officials and the killer himself knew about the act of mounting the victim. You knew it! Now, if you recall Chihiro's corpse, her body was most certainly mounted in this fashion. So how could the killer have known about suspending the victim? Because at least somebody tampered with my crime scene! I'm still holding that true! That's the key question. But in fact, the answer is quite simple.
So, in other words,
The culprit isn't a copycat killer. It's the real Genocide Jack. No, you tampered with my crime scene! I'm gonna hold that true because, God, you're really trying to push this angle.
in other words,
That night, that right there is the evidence that Genocide Jack has hidden himself among the rest of us. Then Genocide Jack really is such a brutal, fiendish killer, really walking around among us?
interesting.
Things are really starting to get interesting, aren't they? I never imagined a killer with such a reputation would ever become part of our little game. Now, don't you think it would be good for you to take a look at what I've already seen? You might want to manage to ferret out a clue or two.
Such ignorance.
If you get down on your knees and beg, I might even show you myself. Screw you too, buddy! Byakuya, about Genocide Jack case file. Could you let me see it?
That's fine.
Well, you didn't beg, but I guess it's okay this time. Feel free to look at it here, but if you can't take it with you. Well, shit! Byakuya handed me the file and I flipped through it, their tense and nervous fingers. Suddenly my hand stopped. I had reached the page where the photos from the scene of each crime had been collected. Well, he's lying to my face because I'm sorry. Look at that! Scissors! The names of Genocide Jack's victims ran on for several pages. Ken Harada, 32, Tetsudo Honda, 17, Shoji Gaku, 23, Kano Issei, 14, Takashi Yosha, 30. There was no end. But one thing became perfectly clear as I read. All the killer's countless villains were killed and suspended in exactly the same way. But they were killed with scissors! And at the scene of every murder were the words, bloodlust were left to the victim. Blood. Now, take a look at the next page. You'll find another interesting tidbit. next page? Profiling results. All the crimes took place either on weekdays at night or during holidays, either day or night. The most common time for the killings to take place was on a holiday in the afternoon. Based on these facts, it could be suggested that the suspect may be a student. Evidence suggests that the suspect lingered at the scene, but when they did leave, they were in a panic. Because an eyewitness has never come forward, it is unlikely that there was any external reason for this. This confused behavior suggests that the suspect may potentially suffer from dissociative identity disorder. Wait a minute! Is Togo genocide Jack? That actually... Oh, dear God. Webs! Webs of... There's so much going on.
In other words...
The key point here is that the culprit may as well have a split personality. A split personality, like the kind of thing you see on TV. So I'm part of another totally unbelievable story. But this one may be more unbelievable than anything else up till now. Or maybe it really isn't. I don't know. I feel like my mind has gone numb. Genocide Jack case file has been added to the Truth Bullet section of your handbook.
Let's go.
Alright, we should get going soon. Huh? Where are we going? Anywhere but here. We've finished our business here, haven't we? Oh, wait, Byakuya! As usual, Byakuya turned and left without another word. I hurried out of the library to catch up. Well, this is where we part ways. I have some things I need to take care of before the class trial. Huh? Just all of a sudden like that?
I don't have time to play
Come on,
with you.
enough of your annoying misappropriations. Did you really think we'd be together the whole time? Take responsibility for yourself and do something useful. Move the investigation forward on your own. Well,
Goodbye.
Well, goodbye. And just like that, he was gone. Just as quickly as he had asked me to join him, he cut me off. In the end, I felt like it was just some plaything getting tossed around. At the same time, I'd uncovered a really important clue thanks to him. Genocide Jack, he's the one that killed Chihiro. And that murderous fiend is one of us. Who is it? I have to find out no matter what it takes. To do that, there's somewhere I have to investigate one more time. I have to go back to the crime scene, the girls' locker room. I should check the boys' locker room too. And the others might have come up with some info that I might find useful while I'm at it. I need to find out everything I can. At least I know there's a third floor. Hi, Hifumi. Here you are. Ding, ding, ding. Hifumi has discovered evidence revealing the identity of the culprit.
I feel as if...
Another stat increase for me. Evidence, what'd you find? I can't reveal that just yet.
That's it.
But I
I'm
guarantee
sure
that
of
what I
it.
found will seal the killer's breath from his lungs. Are you sure about that? Oh yeah, Miss Lindbergh said she witnessed something worthwhile too. Really, what'd she see?
Well,
She refused to
it would
tell me.
seem-
It's like when a girl bullies a boy she likes, right? Right? Okay, so where's Celeste now? The warehouse by the dorms. She was there, but at the same time, not there. What's it gotta be? I'm going to the boys' locker room. Yeah, I feel like things got switched, because why the hell is that in here? Huh? This poster. It's a popular boy band called Tornado. Somehow it doesn't quite fit in the boys' locker room. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, hunch, hunch. Oh dear God. There's a strange stain on the carpet. What is it? The boys' locker room carpet has been added to the Truth Bullet section of your handbook. That's everything I can see. Alright, let's exit. Yes. And go into the girls' locker room again. See if I can find information now that I don't have somebody freaking being a chode. Kyoko, help me! Hey, Kyoko, have you made any progress in your investigation? Generally speaking.
However,
But I have to get going. I have something unrelated to take care of. Something besides the investigation. What is it?
well,
Nothing you need to worry about. Just concentrate on the murder. But
so then,
before I go, let me give you one piece of advice. You should examine Chihiro's body one more time thoroughly. Also, her handbook is missing. You might want to determine its whereabouts.
goodbye.
That's it. I'll be praying for your success. With that Kyoko turned and left the girls' locker room. I guess I'll take another look at the body then. Chihiro's handbook is missing? That's definitely worth worrying about. Chihiro's handbook has been added to the truth bullet section of your handbook. Kyoko said I should examine the body one more time. I know she said thoroughly, but I do have my limits. Well, I better give it a shot anyway. Let's see. Chihiro's hands are bound with what looks like some kind of rope. The rope was used to prop her up in some kind of crucifix. Huh? The rope has a plug? Oh, Byakuya! Wait, so this isn't a rope at all. But the more I think about it, the more it's not the only thing that concerns me. Chihiro's fatal injury was the blow to the head, which means someone struck her in the head in order to kill her. That's right, there's the issue of her being suspended and the fatal blow. At first I didn't see any reason to think too much about either of them. But seeing them again after looking at the Genocide Jack file, that something's not quite right. What does all this mean? Status of the body has been added to the truth bullet section of your handbook. Well, the only thing most likely to tie all these mysteries together is the true nature of the rope that was used to suspend Chihiro. To figure that out, there's a certain place I need to revisit and look over again. Plus, it might help to look at the Genocide Jack case file one more time. Without someone who's trying to tell me what the crime is! It's a bloodstained poster. The blood is the most noteworthy part, but the big-breasted swimsuit model is pretty noticeable too. The girls' locker room doesn't seem like the kind of place you'd find something like this. Oh, but wait, that reminds me. The poster in the other locker room is... That's right, there's definitely something strange about this. The boys' locker room, there's a poster of a boy band. The girls' locker room, there's a poster of a big-breasted swimsuit model. Could the posters have been switched? But if they were, why? What reason would anyone have to do that? To move a bloodstain. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, hunch, hunch. Alright, let's go talk to Sakura, because she knows this locker room better than I do. You spend a lot of time exercising in the girls' locker room, right, Sakura?
Of course.
I've used it nearly every day since it opened up. Sometimes Hina and I use it together. Okay then, let me ask you something. Do you think the posters in the boys' and girls' locker room could have been switched?
I'm sorry.
Sorry? I can't really say. I never paid any attention to the posters. I see.
However...
But there is something that's been bothering me about the locker room. You see, I like to drink a certain protein coffee every time I finish exercising. We have protein coffee? In the warehouse. It's not the highest quality, but I don't have a lot of other options. I mix the protein powder with coffee and down a glass after exercising. Anyway, the other day I spilled some of it on the carpet in the girls' locker room and it left a stain. A stain? Oh, wait, wait, nudge, 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 nudge! But I don't see any stain on the carpet now.
Of course.
Exactly, I noticed it earlier. The stain has disappeared. I can only assume someone came along and cleaned it up. But still, isn't it unusually clean? As if there were never a stain there to begin with? Disappearing stain has been added to the truth bullet section of your handbook. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, nudge! Alright, we're going back to the library. So I can actually look at the file without somebody on my back! And I think we're gonna go try to find Celeste. This is so creepy! This is so creepy! Huh? The lamp won't turn on. Oh, I see. It's not plugged in. The lamp's cord isn't long enough to reach the outlet from here. But last time I saw it, it was definitely on, and it was definitely right here. Oh, that's right. Byakuya was using the extension cord. But there's no extension cord here now. I wonder if... Wait, all I really needed... I do want to go into the archive and look. I want to take another look at the Genocide Jack case file. I know it was around here somewhere. Huh? It's gone. Did someone take it out of the archive? But the only one who would do something like that. Can't think of anyone but Byakuya. Mother F you, Byakuya! Alright, let's go find Celeste then. Yes. Alright, let's go find Celeste. She apparently witnessed something. Oh my goodness, that's creepy! It's like Bendy on the Ink Machine levels of creepy. And the fact that I know one of these students is a murderer doesn't help my creepy factor. Warehouse should be over here. I don't know where the warehouse is. Oh, it's over there. Celeste, what are you doing here? This warehouse is amazing. It has absolutely everything one might need to live a full life. From food to clothes to towels, there's an endless supply to choose from. I say that, but have you found anything related to the case?
Most unfortunate.
I knew you were going to ask me that. I thought talking about the warehouse itself might misdirect you, but I see it was pointless. Then did you find something? Very well, I will tell you and only you. Last night I saw her here. Chihiro was in the warehouse. What, really?
Indeed.
Yes, this was right before night.
What are you doing out this late?
Oh, I was just...
Are you planning to go exercise, perhaps?
What? How did you know?
Because I can see a blue track jacket sticking out of that duffel bag you're carrying.
Oh, you're right. Thanks. Well, I'd better get going. I'm kind of in a hurry.
She stuffed the jacket into her bag in a hurry. It was almost like she was trying to hide it. And just like that, she was gone.
Yes,
I
indeed.
assumed she was merely stocking up to go exercise in the morning, but it would appear she ignored the nighttime rule and headed directly to the girls' locker room. If she hadn't broken our rule, none of this would have ever happened. You get what you deserve, I suppose. So apparently, she went to the girls' locker room late at night in order to exercise without anyone knowing. But the strange thing is, there was no trace of any track jacket or duffel bag Celeste said she saw Chihiro carrying, which would mean the killer would have gotten rid of it somehow. Celeste's account has been added to the Truth Bullet section of your handbook. I'm exiting! She won't come out. She just keeps mumbling something about Genocide Jack. So I just left her there. You left her? My head was all swimmy and I was getting pretty hungry.
Yeah.
Oh, but don't worry. I'm gonna head back as soon as I'm done eating. Toko's not exactly pleasant, but I'm still worried about her. Speaking of which, what are you eating?
Huh?
A donut, of course. Of course. There's two things I'm sure God created, outer space and donuts. Really? I bet Chihiro would have liked to eat more donuts. Maybe that was her one big regret. Well, I should have tried to spend more time with her. Come to think of it, who did she spend time with? She was a little bit strange, didn't really hang out with the other girls much. It was like she was trying to keep her distance from us. Actually, Sakura said something similar. She said that even though you invited Chihiro to exercise with you, she always refused.
Yeah, totally.
Yep, that's true. And it wasn't just us either. It was like she stayed away from all the girls. Was she just shy? I don't know. She talked to the boys all the time. Isn't it kind of weird to be shy around your own sex, but totally fine with the opposite sex? Oh, wait, maybe she was used to guys spoiling her. The law says you can't judge a book by its cover, right? You'd think so. I never really saw her as that kind of girl. Always account has been added to the Truth Bullet section of your handbook. Dong bing bong. Damn it! Yes.
I'm getting tired of waiting. Shall we just plunge right in?
No.
It's the moment you've all been waiting for. The class trial. You remember where to meet, right? Please
fine
go through
with
the
meeting
red
you, you
door
evil-
on the first floor of the
evil bear.
See you soon.
Begin the class trial, or it's about to begin. The red door is right through here. Gotta walk through with certainty. So everyone is ready to what? Am I blind or are we missing someone?
Yo.
Yeah, Toko's not here. And Toko is... You really don't remember?
Come on.
Kidding, I'm just kidding. How could I forget that little nut job? She's a crucial part of the class trial this time.
What are you gonna do?
Okay, dokie. I'll go ahead and drag her out here, kicking and screaming. Just one moment, please. And just like he said, a few minutes later, he reappeared dragging Toko behind him. I told him I didn't want to, but he forced me. I can't believe you would drag a girl around. Terrible, you're terrible. Now everyone's here, right? Okay then, hustle into the elevator and let's get the show on the road. I'll see you guys down there.
Let's go.
So shall we get going? It's time to find out who killed Chihiro. Chihiro Fujisaki. She was so gentle, so calm and meek. Nobody had any problems with her. Someone made the choice to kill a girl like that. That murderer is one of us. Someone standing right here. We have no choice, right? We have to do this. Yes. I gave a small nod in reply. With one last deep breath, I walked towards the elevator on shaky legs. With each step forward, I could feel my heart starting to race faster and faster. And as soon as everyone was on, the elevator began to descend. I couldn't get a handle on my emotions. I couldn't stop speculating. The steel box sank with a heavy clunking sound deeper and deeper into the ground. And as we went deeper, the unease in my heart grew bigger and bigger. The elevator was unaffected, however, and continued descent without hesitation. Until finally, it came to a sudden stop. What do you think? I redecorated it. Isn't it so fresh? Isn't it so exciting? Don't waste our time with stupid questions. Let's get this over with.
Very
Good. You're raring to go. Gotta say, I don't hate it. Not at all.
well.
Let's get this show on the road.
Thrills, Chip.
And so the curtain opened once again. A deadly judgment, a deadly deception, a deadly betrayal. A deadly riddle, a deadly defense, a deadly fate. A deadly class trial! Why do you gotta say deadly so much? God damn, Makoto. Oh, yeah. I wanna save! I don't have any other skills, do I? Alrighty. Okay, so Dumbo was the murder weapon. That's how I got in. This I still don't know about. Genocide Jack. Okay. That's something somebody tried to use to cover up this. That proves that the two carpets were switched. The posters were switched. So she probably died in the boys' locker room. That helps prove my account of that. And this proves that she was getting a tracksuit. But since Celeste didn't tell anybody else about that, that's gonna be like my trump card. Because somebody might say blue, and I'm going to point this out. That's my guess. I've never played this game before, guys, and I don't know the story, and don't spoil the story for me. But that's what I'm thinking. I'm so shocked, I got 16 truth bullets, and I don't know what's going to be used and what's not going to be used. Interesting. Alright, I think we're done. Everybody ready to go?
Let's begin with a basic explanation of the class trial. So, your votes will determine the results. If you can figure out who done it, then only they will receive punishment. But if you pick the wrong one, then I'll punish everyone besides the blackened, and the one that deceived everyone else will graduate. Okay, then. So, first off, let's talk about the murder weapon!
Okay, so the dumbbell. First, we have to make clear what was used to discover the fatal blow. Well, that's stupid. Some of these are stupid.
Chihiro's fatal injury. It appears it was a head wound.
According to the Monokuma file, the killer used a blunt instrument. But what kind of blunt instrument could it have been? I bet it was an iron pipe. Interesting.
No, I missed it!
Certainly.
Poor Chihiro.
I shot it at the right time and then it missed!
Chihiro's fatal injury. It appears it was a...
According to the Monokuma file,
What kind of blunt instrument could it have been? I bet it was an iron pipe.
Thank
No,
God.
it's wrong.
I hate that I missed it.
Can we agree that the object that dealt the fatal blow was the dumbbell, found at the scene of the crime? It was covered in blood, and there was nothing else at the scene that could have caused that kind of injury.
And the wound on the victim's head is consistent with the shape of the dumbbell. As far as I'm concerned, there's no mistake and no room for doubt on this one.
You looked at her head wound?
That's so creepy!
I can't really say it's not.
If you don't mind, I will proceed from here. Let's move on to discussion of the culprit. Although, I believe the criminal behind this heinous act is already quite clear.
I think you tried to trick us! So screw you!
What? For real?
Chihiro's killer is the fiendish serial killer, Genocide Jack.
I still don't believe you because you're fooling me. Genocide Jack, the fiendish serial killer. Did he really kill Chihiro? New element message add. Absolutely! What the hell? For this debate, lines of white noise will appear to disrupt your reactions. Your truth bullets will disappear if they hit these lines, so think of them as obstacles in your debate. But there's a way to keep this white noise from getting in your way. Press the X button to attach the silencer, which you can shoot down the white noise. However, if you shoot an actual remark with your silencer instead of white noise, the time limit will decrease, so take careful aim when you have your silencer out. Oh, but if your action difficulty is set to gentle, white noise won't appear. In which case, you can forget about the silencer and just focus on the situation in front of you. Well then, good luck and have fun. Well, that's stupid. Well, we're talking about Genocide Jack, so obviously that's going to be the case file vice where I'm going to be.
The culprit is Genocide Jack. I'm sure of it. Case closed, as far as I'm concerned.
But that's impossible!
Why? What makes it impossible?
Well, I mean, come on! There's just no proof for it.
No, that's wrong!
Thank God! like I don't want to do a silencer.
I might know one reason he could be involved.
Or at least the reason someone thought to make us think he was involved.
What?
I found this file while I was looking around the archive in the library.
Because somebody wanted to use me as a freaking pawn!
I guess it's some kind of confidential file the police put together about the Genocide Jack case.
What? That's kinda weird as shit, isn't it? What was something like that doing in the library?
The why of it is probably more trouble than it's worth. So let's forget about that for now.
Glance over
More
it, because
importantly,
you're the one
it outlines
responsible!
all the specifics of every Genocide Jack case in exceeding detail. According to the file, there appear to be 2 defining characteristics in every
3,
Genocide Jack
okay?
case.
Technically 4! I saw 4 things, Byakuya. You can go die.
The first is that a bloody message is found written at the scene of every murder.
Oh, that's right. Boob lust.
No. It's actually bloodlust.
But more important is the other characteristic, and it
Never made public? What the hell is it?
Why don't you tell them, Makoto?
The other characteristic for each Genocide Jack person is how the victim was positioned.
Apparently, in every Genocide Jack case, the killer suspends the body in a certain way. Other than the killer, the only people who know about this are the higher-ups in the police department.
However, Chihiro was most definitely suspended in the same way. So, how did the culprit know about this when only high-level police officials were aware of it?
Because he saw the file! Like you!
There's only one logical answer I can think of. It's because the culprit in this case is the real Genocide Jack.
You're just trying to play me.
No fucking way!
You're saying Genocide Jack is one of us?
Yes, in fact, it's Toko.
What?
Genocide Jack's true identity is Toko Fukawa.
Interesting!
You lie!
What?
That's something I had come to also the conclusion, but God!
Okay, wait, hold on a sec. Toko has, like, bloodophobia or whatever, remember? What kind of serial killer is afraid of blood?
Is Toko Genocide Jack? The answer is yes and no.
Another riddle? Man, why is this gotta be so complicated?
It does seem like a riddle in a way, but I feel like I can just about see it. Genocide Jack is Toko, but isn't Toko. What does it mean? Ah, shit. Hangman's Gambit. Is that right?
Now I understand.
I think I'm right!
Is it because Genocide Jack has a split personality?
Huh?
I think I read that somewhere in the file, too. They thought that the suspect might have, what did they call it? Dissociative identity disorder.
Oh, okay. But still, to go and say that about Miss Fukawa is...
Perfectly acceptable. Toko's strange behavior after seeing the body is proof enough that she has a split personality.
The one thing that shows Toko could have had a split personality, it has to do with her behavior. Her behavior changed.
I got it! You're talking about how she started acting totally different than usual, right?
That's right. Think back. She fainted when she saw Chihiro's corpse, and then, when she woke up...
I'm fine. What was that, dead body? Hey, are you dead? Yeah. She must have hit her head real hard when she fainted. The world is a front and a back, a top ending and a bottom, a sea of truth and a web of lies. This is quite concerning. I mean, she sounds completely different.
She was acting funny, that's for sure. That melancholy tone of hers completely disappeared.
Don't go assigning adjectives to my tone without permission.
Not to mention, once she regained consciousness and saw Chihiro's body again, she was utterly calm. In other words, within her is one personality that can't handle blood, and one that obviously can.
So when Toko trapped herself in her room, it's because she was scared of Genocide Jack?
I won't let Genocide Jack have control. I'll drive out the killer, drive out the murderous fiend.
The reason she locked herself in her room wasn't to keep other people from getting in. It was to keep her other personality from getting out.
What?
Toko was afraid. Afraid of the murderous fiend inside of her. Of killing even more people.
Byaku, yeah, but you're still totally playing me on this.
How? Yeah. How can you know all this?
I do believe you misunderstood her. What she's trying to say isn't, how can you know all this? No. What she wants to know is, how could you tell them?
Huh?
Last night, just before Monokuma gave his motive speech, Toko and I had a strange conversation. She told me a most interesting story. She said a murderous fiend lived within her, and she was afraid it could appear and attack at any time. And that trepidation is what's caused her to have such a bleak attitude. Isn't that right, Toko?
This is all a lie.
You said you wouldn't tell anyone.
What?
You promised! I can't believe you lied!
You have only yourself to blame. You came to me with your tragic little story. I didn't ask you to.
Byakuya is a savage!
This is the real world, not some romantic fantasy fairy tale. Besides, you broke your promise first. You said that as long as you were here, no matter what, you wouldn't let Genocide Jack kill anyone. But in spite of that promise...
I'm sorry, I couldn't keep our promise. Don't worry, never again. I won't let Genocide Jack have control ever again.
You said if I kept my promise, you would go out with me. That's the only reason I promised.
How many times do I have to tell you? I never said that, but you weren't able to do it. You just couldn't resist that rush you got from killing, could you?
You are a douche!
I tried! I swear I tried to control it,
But your efforts were useless. What a disappointment.
I hate you.
Well, the opening act is nearly finished. All that's left is to hear from the person in question directly.
The person? You don't mean...
Toko's body suddenly lunged backwards. A huge thud echoed across the courtroom, but in the next second...
Well, hello there! Is it me you were hoping to see?
Well, screw you too, lady!
What the heck? So you figured it out, huh? Well, whatever. What are you gonna do? I'm the ultimate murderous fiend, Genocide Jack! Or better yet, let's go with Genocide Jill!
What the fuck is this?
What happened to you?
Not Toko. That's a loser name. And what happened is a textbook split personality. So what if one of them happens to be a serial killer? You should turn a blind eye to one's fault.
Her art is creepy!
So intense.
Like they say, sound in murderous mind, sound in murderous body.
This one is so different from the one we've come to know.
Yes, well, the world is composed
so
of a
creepy.
vacuum. Just like how every inning has a top and a bottom, or how in the depths of every truth lives a little lie. Behind every dark and gloomy soul lives another that shines as bright as the sun!
This is the murderous fiend Genocide Jack? This is beyond insane!
Miss Jack, Jill, can I ask you a question?
What's up?
Some of us think you might be the mastermind behind our entire situation. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I'll tell you! I am the mastermind of all masterminds! Just kidding!
Then, it's not true?
Of course it's not true! How dare you try to link me to that creepazoid?
Screw you too, Pear!
And another thing, the police and government and society in the outside world are totally powerless! I mean, they just let this idiotic, bloodthirsty maniac go buck wild all over town!
Sure, I'm a bloodthirsty maniac, but life is pain, right? To live is to hurt other people. It's a necessary evil if you want to survive. The act of living itself causes pain for everyone. Just kidding again!
This should be enough to convince you. This murderous fiend is responsible for Chihiro's death.
I'm not going to say
There's
that.
clearly a motive, so there should be no doubt.
A motive?
Remember what Monokuma told us? If someone didn't murder and graduate within 24 hours, an embarrassing memory or secret would be revealed. Well, let's assume that Toko's secret was about Genocide Jack. If a secret like that came to light, Toko's life would have undoubtedly been forever ruined. So she had a very clear motive to never have that side of herself exposed.
Interesting. Very, very, very interesting. But sorry, as much as I hate to admit it, I'm not the culprit.
Huh?
But I cannot imagine anyone other than you could murder someone in such a bizarre fashion.
Maybe so, but nevertheless, it's the truth.
Do you really expect any of us to believe you?
Yeah. I could never believe a word you say, you monster.
Maybe she's totally right about that, but something's still bothering me. What she said. I need to get some more details about all this. God damn it!
Sorry, but I didn't kill anyone.
You say that, but do you really expect any of us to believe it?
Perhaps if you had an alibi, that would change things.
Oh, an alibi, huh? Now we're talking.
When you compare your past murders to this incident, the modus operandi matches completely. What more proof do we need?
Give it up. You killed her.
Alright, so I need to switch it.
Sorry, but I didn't kill anyone.
You say that, but do you really...
Perhaps if you had an alibi, that would...
Oh, an alibi, huh? Now we're talking.
When you compare your past murders to this incident, the modus operandi matches completely.
No, that's wrong! Are the methods of murder really exactly the same? I'm not so sure about that. I think there's a slight difference between the Genocide Jack cases and this one.
Huh? How's it any different?
Uh-oh, you don't know? Well then, human garbage, let me tell you! I murder with passion and conviction. I consider myself a professional, and I have a very particular way of doing things. Imagine you go to a fancy Italian restaurant. They're very picky about the noodles, the sauce, everything.
Cray.
But what happened to Chihiro?
Oh god.
It'd be like if that same Italian restaurant started using Ragu or Chef Boyardee.
They actually used the name!
This is no creation of mine.
Let me rephrase that, in a way that maybe makes more sense. There are two clear differences between the Genocide Jack cases and this one.
The one clear difference between them is the victim's
I
fatal
got it!
injury.
For one, the cause of death is different. In the Genocide Jack murders, all the victims were killed the same way. According to the case file, they were all apparently killed with a pair of scissors. But Chihiro died from a blow to the head, right?
Ah, yes. That is remarkably different from the other murders.
Wouldn't it be strange for someone who
See what
kills
I
the
was saying
same
this
way
entire
without
time?
fail to suddenly change their method? And there's more. One more conflicting detail.
That's right! In my recipe of murder, if the bloody message is the tortellini, then the arrangement of the body would be the pesto sauce!
Could you please stop comparing killing people to cooking?
It's really making me lose my appetite.
So, are you saying the other difference has to do with how the body was arranged?
That's right, the second difference is related to how the body was... what was used to suspend her.
Do you remember what the killer used to suspend her? They used some kind of rope to hang her up by her
I love how we're
wrists.
still calling it rope.
What is your point?
Well, in all the previous Genocide Jack cases, something else was used to suspend them. Specifically, pairs of razor-sharp scissors.
And guess what? I used my own specially designed scissors for the murders and the arrangement! Like I said, I'm a professional, so naturally I'm very picky about the tools I use. And you know what else? Big Mac said there's two differences, but he's wrong.
Big Mac? Are you referring to me?
Listen up, Big Mac! There's actually one more difference!
Huh?
My word, you really didn't notice? Take a look at who the victims were in each Genocide Jack case. There's a pattern there, just waiting to be discovered.
A pattern?
Figure that out, and it'll be plain as death why I couldn't have possibly killed that little lolly girl.
Let's see. There's one pattern surrounding the Genocide Jack victims that Chihiro didn't fit it. They all seem to be men. But at the same time, I'm still thinking that Chihiro might be a guy, so a part of me is confused. I think I figured out because Chihiro was a girl.
Is it because Chihiro was a girl?
Bingo! Bullseye! Right on the money!
What are you talking about?
In all the Genocide Jack cases, all the victims had something in common.
They were all... guys?
That's right! The people I kill with such passion and conviction are all adorable little men! I can't believe I said it! I'm so embarrassed!
The hell is wrong with you?
I can't help it! I'm just a full-throttle boy-on-boy fangirl, and the mopey side of me just hates it. But now I'm on the fast track to becoming a full-fledged fan madam!
So since Chihiro was a girl and not an adorable little man, you wouldn't kill her?
Would an Italian chef suddenly start making ramen just because they're both noodles? Don't be stupid. I have too much passion and conviction to cross that line. That's the absolute reality of the one and only.
We get it. You've clearly explained your hobby and your philosophy. But that's not all there is to it. It's a different matter entirely. When you're forced to kill in order to survive.
Quiet, lowly cur!
Lowly? Cur?
I would never kill for a reason as petty as mere survival. And if by some fluke I did kill to survive, why would I bother with the message and arrangement? It'd make me the obvious suspect!
That does make some amount of sense.
Whatever reason I have for killing, I would never leave out my prized scissors. Who would go out of their way to use a big, stupid, heavy dumbbell?
Maybe you used the dumbbell because you couldn't find any scissors in the school?
Any scissors? I don't just use any scissors. I only use my own set of high-class, envy of the entire world scissors!
Okay, whatever. There still aren't any in the school.
Are you sure about that?
That's creepy!
She's fully equipped!
That's right! So I can kill anywhere, anytime! Why would I resort to dumbbells or rope when I have my trusty scissors by my side? Go ahead, tell me I'm wrong, you can't, can you? scatter dogs, all of you! Not to mention, I have no clue how to tie a good knot. The rope's totally out of the question anyway.
I have no idea what's going on anymore! Could such a heinous villain really be innocent?
But the body really was suspended, right? And nobody but the police knew about that.
Yeah. That's why we figured it had to be the real deal, and not some copycat killer or whatever.
Who gave us this idea? Actually, hold on. There is one person. One person who could copy the Genocide Jack cases. I'm Byakuya.
Here's my answer. Byakuya, it's possible you could have found out, isn't it? You'd have no problem gaining access to classified government documents or internal police records. Plus, you'd already looked through the Genocide Jack file before this all happened, hadn't you?
Are you saying Mr. Togami did it?
Then the reason he pushed the theory of Genocide Jack being the killer so hard was because he wanted to pin the crime on her.
So, he rearranged the scene to disguise it and make it look like I put my stamp on it. The adorable glasses man was behind it all. Oh, I'm on fire!
Well, Byakuya, what's your response? I see. So now the suspicion falls on me. Then I must ask, when would you say I began acting suspicious? Surely you must have an answer.
Looking back and thinking about it now, the way you were acting right before we discovered the body was a little strange.
And the locker rooms. They're suspicious. Very suspicious indeed, wouldn't you agree? Huh? Suspicious? It seems nobody searched the locker room. Let's start with the girls' locker room.
You wanted to go to the girls' locker room right away, right? But since you're a guy...
I should have naturally thought of the boys' locker room first. Is that what you want to say? The victim was Chihiro, a girl. Hence why I said we should check the girls' locker room.
It was Chihiro before that!
Nothing strange about that, I'd say.
On the contrary, there's something very strange.
Okay then, what's so strange about it? Go ahead, share with the rest of the class.
There's a clear contradiction to what Byakuya just said. I need to make it clear to everyone. A new element has been added to now explain! Next, we're going to add something called Truth Flashback. If you aim at a weak spot and hold down the triangle button, ... then you'll memorize the weak spot. This memorized phrase can only be shot once as a single truth bullet. If you shoot or change the truth bullet, it will disappear from your truth cylinder. However, you can use this flashback feature as many times as you want. If you don't seem to have the answer or a lie or contradicting your loaded truth bullets, it might be wise to memorize a different weak spot and use that to make your case. When's the best time to flashback? Well, you'll just have to use your keen wits, won't you? Oh, great. In that case, though, I would say if you don't use a flashback, you won't be refuting anything. Well then, good luck and have fun. Alright, so I need to get before the body. Or we found the body, and obviously it's when he knew the victim was Chihiro.
So, you said Byakuya was acting kind of weird before we found the body. But he was acting weird... how?
If you're presented with the opportunity to check out the girls' locker room,
you absolutely take it! That's a natural reaction for any guy!
The victim was Chihiro.
No, it's wrong!
You contradictor!
I'll tell you what's so strange about that. Because up until we actually discovered the body, we couldn't have known who the victim was. So your claim that you went to the girls' locker room first because Chihiro was the victim doesn't hold up.
I see. That's a good answer, I must admit. Interesting. Very interesting indeed. But your reasoning is still too weak.
Huh?
What's wrong? Is that it? Surely you've got more than that. Go.
What's with Byakuya's attitude? It's like he doesn't even care. I've got him cornered, but he's acting like he's got nothing to do with it.
What's the matter? You're not finished already, are you?
Screw you! We're going for it! God!
There is. I think.
There is more to it. Think about it. We just talked about the differences between this case and past Genocide Jack incidents. The proof you're looking for is hidden in there.
Thank you, Kyoko, for walking Makoto through, even though I don't need you to walk me through this.
Proof that I'm the culprit, you mean?
Alrighty. Hold on 1 minute, guys. Sorry about that. Someone needed more water in her water bowl. Hey, you. Dot, dot, dot. The difference between this case and the other Genocide Jack murders. Was obviously going to be that desk lamp. The evidence that proves Byakuya is responsible is hidden in there. What could it be? Make your argument. Yeah, look at that! Desk lamp! This is gonna actually be the first one, though.
What? The difference between the cases? You want me to explain it again? When I want to kill, I use my very own special scissors. And I use those same scissors to arrange the body.
But Chihiro was suspended with... It was some kind of rope. Was it not?
That's right! It absolutely was!
Then there must be something very fishy indeed about that rope.
Hey, Byakuya, where'd you get it from, huh?
I'd never seen that rope before in my life. Obviously, somebody else must have had it hidden away somewhere.
I missed it! I gotta do it. I gotta do this one more time.
What? The difference between the... You want me to explain? When I want to kill, I use those same...
But Chihiro was suspended with some kind of rope.
That's right! It absolutely...
Then there must be something very fishy indeed about...
Hey, Byakuya, where'd you get it from, huh?
I'd never seen that rope before in my life. Obviously, somebody else must have had it hidden away somewhere.
What? The difference? You want me to explain? When I want to kill, and I use those same...
But Chihiro, it was some kind of...
That's right! It absolutely was!
Then there must be something very fishy indeed about that rope.
Hey, Byakuya, where'd you get it from, huh?
I'd never seen that rope before in my life. Obviously, somebody else must have had it hidden away somewhere.
That is not fair!
What? The difference? You want me to explain? When I want to kill, and I use those same...
But Chihiro was suspended with... It was some kind of rope. Was it not?
That's right! It absolutely was!
Then there must be something very fishy indeed about that rope.
Hey, Byakuya, where'd you get it from, huh?
I'd never seen that rope before in my life.
No, you did not! Eat your words, Byakuya!
Actually, I'm pretty sure you have seen it before. Because, you see, that rope, or should I say, that extension cord?
What? An extension cord?
Byakuya, you've used the extension cord in the library more than once, haven't you? And the same extension cord that was in the library all this time went missing after the murder. And there's no way someone who uses that extension cord as much as you do wouldn't discover that fact.
And Byakuya must be the one who took the extension cord. I can't imagine any other possibility.
That's really what you think? Then your conclusion is something like this? I killed Chihiro in the girls' locker room, then hung her up and wrote that bloody message.
No, I don't.
I intentionally made it look like Genocide Jack was behind it. Is that about right?
I still think you made it look like Genocide Jack is behind it. He's doing it again. He's totally calm, totally unconcerned, as if he's not even involved. Wait, not even involved?
What's wrong? I asked you if you think that's what happened.
Hell yes, that's what happened. So that's it, right? Byakuya's the killer.
Mondo, you don't say shit like that.
I don't disagree with not disagreeing.
He kept calling this a game, right? So he'd be totally willing to do something like this to win.
Sorry, but could we hold on just a second? I think we need to talk about this a little more.
I'm in trouble.
Do we really need to? We've already decided who did it.
I know, but still, there's something that still bothers you.
That's right. And what, pray tell, is still bothering you?
The scene of the crime, douche!
I killed her in the girls' locker room, then disguised my crime. Specifically, I dressed it up to make it look like it was the work of a homicidal psychopath. What about all that bothers you?
Wait, what was that just now? Something's not right. Byakuya's remarks just now. There's something that concerns me. The scene of the crime!
You say you killed Chihiro in the girls' locker room, right? But are you sure about that? Isn't it possible that the murder took place somewhere else?
How disappointing.
Screw you!
What kind of question is that? Even in the world of disappointments, this is a true letdown. She was found dead in the girls' locker room. There is absolutely no question about that. How could the scene of the crime have been anywhere else?
Well, I think it's entirely possible that she was killed somewhere else, then carried there later, along with the rest of the murder scene.
The rest of the murder scene?
Yes, douche nozzle!
That was awfully specific. Please tell me you have a reason for saying all that.
Obviously I do, douche nozzle!
I believe I do.
Hey, Byakuya, did I just take you off guard? When the story suddenly moved on to the crime scene, Byakuya, who had been confident up till now, maybe Byakuya never realized that the actual scene of the crime could have been somewhere else.
Hey, don't just move on without permission! What do you mean she was killed somewhere else?
Come on, Makoto. If there's any chance the murder took place somewhere else, let's see the proof.
Fine then, douche nozzle! Focus on the things.
I got it! The proof that she was killed somewhere else is the poster that's hanging in each locker room.
Your proof is some posters?
The poster in the girls' locker room was a picture of a big-boobed supermodel. But don't you think that's kind of strange?
I'm not gonna get over this! Bryce Papenbrook just said big boobed. I'm sorry, Bryce. I'm just laughing at you forever because of that.
Why would the girls' locker room have a poster like that?
I bet those massive jugs of hers were totally fake!
Meanwhile, the boys' locker room had a poster of the super popular boy band Tornado. Again, that doesn't really seem to belong in a boys' locker room.
So you're saying that maybe the posters were switched?
And there's one other thing I noticed about the locker rooms.
And that would be the carpet, obviously.
You know what I'm talking about, right, Sakura?
You're referring to my protein coffee, aren't you?
Protein coffee?
I win!
While I was in the girls' locker room earlier, I spilled some protein coffee on the carpet. But I noticed that after the murder, the stain had been totally scrubbed away.
No, it's not that the stain was scrubbed away. It was moved.
I got it! The stain on the girls' locker room carpet wasn't scrubbed away. In fact, I found it on the boys' locker room carpet.
That's definitely the stain from my protein coffee.
Then, does that mean that the carpets were switched too? But why would anyone do that?
To move the murder scene from one locker room to the other. It's certainly plausible. don't you think? In other words, in order to completely swap the scene of the crime, the bloodstained poster and carpet were moved along with the dead body. By doing this, the killer was able to change the entire room where the murder took place.
Ain't the killer just doing dandy?
I can certainly follow your reasoning, but why would the culprit bother doing that?
Huh?
Why would they go through all that trouble of switching the scene of the crime? Actually, an even bigger question. If the murder did take place in the boys' locker room, then how did Chihiro get in the boys' locker room in the first place? To get into the locker rooms, you have to swipe your e-handbook across the
Still
card
making me
reader
think that
device.
Chihiro's a guy.
But Chihiro's handbook should have only allowed her access to the girls' locker room. She had no way to get into the boys' locker room to begin with.
No, she did have a way, and I can tell you what it was.
I highly doubt that.
Shut up! I'm telling you, I know how she could have done it.
Is he right? Could Chihiro really have gotten into the boys' locker room somehow? Okay, do this!
Is it really possible? Could Chihiro really have gotten into the boys' locker room somehow?
Ah! I got it! She must have hacked her e-handbook. She was the ultimate programmer, after all. I'm sure that would have been no problem for her. No, I don't think that's it. She used the thing that was in the main hall.
Huh? What thing?
I'm talking about Leon's handbook, of course. No, that's wrong.
No, I don't think Chihiro used Leon's handbook.
Why not?
Because Leon's handbook was broken.
Oh. Well, then, yeah, I guess that'd be pretty impossible, huh?
I am struck silent by how quickly you gave up.
Plus, isn't there a regulation against using someone else's handbook?
Actually, the rule states that loaning your handbook is prohibited. It says nothing about borrowing. In other words, you could borrow a dead person's handbook all you want, and you'd be safe.
Yup, yup, yup! Hit the nail square on the noggin!
Of course, if it were broken, that wouldn't make any sense anyway.
So then, she must have hacked hers, like I said. She used her ultimate programmer skills and...
No.
You can't fix an e-handbook! The instant you open one up, a security buzzer starts blaring!
So, if she didn't use Leon's handbook, and she didn't modify her own handbook...
Maybe Mr. Naegi's initial assumption is just...
Maybe you people are the losers!
It seems like there's no way she could have got into the boys' locker room. So I guess so.
Okay then, I vote for Byakuya.
Dude, shut up! Is that it then? Chihiro was killed in the girls' locker room, and Byakuya was the one who did it? Really? But still, I don't know what else we
Hold on a
can
second.
do.
I agree with you, though. I think you're on the right track.
What the? You finally decide to open your mouth and that's what you've got to say? There's no way she could get in the boys' locker room, right? So...
You called her a dude earlier. I'm still on the track that Chihiro's actually a guy.
Why are you so sure she couldn't get in? There's still one other way she could have gained access.
What? What are you talking about? What other way is there?
Well, to explain that, why don't we take a little break from the trial? I'd like you all to come see something.
Wait! Just what do you think you're doing?
Don't worry. This'll make the whole trial more exciting. I'm sure that thought must please you.
Huh? It'll make things more exciting? Well, all right then. I declare an official class trial recess.
Well, crap!
For real?
Now then, what is it you want to show us? It better not be boring or I'll be very unhappy.
Oh, I have no doubt it'll meet your lofty expectations. So, shall we go?
So before I even knew what was happening, the class trial had been put on hold. We headed off with Kyoko in the lead, and where she took us was... the locker room.
The girls' locker room?
We've already searched this place top to bottom! What are you trying to pull, Missy?
I'd like you to examine the victim's body one more time.
You want to check it again?
Be sure to examine the entire body very carefully. Take your time.
Examine her carefully? Like using our hands?
No, wait! It's probably best if I don't run my hands all over a girl's dead body.
It's not that I'm freaked out or anything, it's just based on religious grounds, you know?
Oh, every guy is refusing to do this.
Very well. I'll do it.
But you're a girl. You shouldn't have to touch a dead body. Just let one of the boys do it.
No, it's okay. I think Chihiro would rather have a girl examine her.
No, I think Chihiro would rather a guy examine
So
her.
just leave this to me.
Sakura.
What is this? Some kind of secret girl-on-girl action? Is that what you two are about?
That's not it at all. Stop screwing around.
Okay, here I go. I'm sorry, Chihiro. Please excuse the intrusion.
Putting her hands together in a brief prayer, Sakura began to quietly examine her
Be
body.
sure to check her entire body, and I believe we will solve this particular mystery.
I like you, Kyoko. You're wonderful.
Her entire body? I know you say that, but... What? This is... What is this...
Okay, that's creepy.
What is it?
Not possible. It's not possible.
Sakura's eyes were staring wildly at Chihiro's lifeless form. Her massive frame trembled.
This girl is
what?
Is a boy!
Ah, I see. So she was actually a he. Interesting. Thank you for confirming this fact.
You're joking, right?
I wouldn't joke about this.
Ben... It's really true?
Chihiro was a guy?
Oh, what? You guys didn't know? Heck, I knew that right off the bat.
Why didn't you tell us? Why is that information not in your stupid file?
Chihiro Fujisaki was totally a guy.
He was a cross-dresser? Oh, I'm really on fire! I wish I had killed him!
So that's what Kyoko wanted to show everyone, huh? Interesting. Yes, that certainly does make things much more exciting. Now let's ride this wave of excitement back to the courtroom and get back to the trial. I do apologize for keeping you waiting. We've all just learned of the shocking revelation that Chihiro was actually a boy. Let's pick up from there.
Yes, well, I don't know his reason for hiding it, but the fact is, Chihiro was not a girl, but a boy.
To think that Chihiro was actually a guy! The thought had never even crossed my mind.
And because the victim was male, he would have had no problem gaining access to the boys' locker room.
Assuming his handbook did, in fact, list his gender as male, then yes, that would be true.
Of course his handbook said he was a boy. He dressed like a girl, but he was a boy through and through.
So then, there should be no issue with Makoto's initial assertion. The victim was killed in the boys' locker room, and was then later moved to the girls' locker room, and the killer could have easily used Sayaka or Junko's handbook to get into the girls' locker room.
So Chihiro really was killed in the boys' locker room?
I still don't understand the motive for moving the body, but yes, that does seem plausible.
Well, I must admit, I did find it rather odd. I knew he felt a little off. There was a certain incongruity to his female body.
Nice comeback,
This is the
Byakuya!
most titillating situation!
So now everything has been connected. All the mysteries have
Screw
finally
you!
become
Nothing's been
clear.
connected!
Okay, well, connected or clear or whatever. We still think you're the killer, remember?
Very interesting. This has become very interesting indeed.
He's off in his own little world.
What about you, Makoto? After everything we've learned, do you still think Byakuya's the killer?
I think the killer's Guy.
Well, without a doubt, Byakuya is the one that made Chihiro's death look like Genocide Jack did it. But I think he might not actually be...
What? But aren't you the one who accused him in the first place?
He just seems to be too easygoing about all this. Like he's enjoying us solving the mystery. The way he's acting, it makes it seem like it doesn't have anything to do with him.
And you think that might be because it doesn't have anything to do with him?
Plus, the evidence he left behind was a little too... how can I put it? Overt. He consciously chose to use the extension cord, knowing it could connect him to the murder. At least, that's how I see it. And Byakuya, when you found out the murder took place in the boys' locker room, it seemed to rattle you. And then again, when you found out Chihiro was actually a guy, if you really were the killer, that stuff wouldn't have had any effect on you.
So that's your thinking, huh? Well, it bothers me that you don't have more concrete reasons, but...
God damn, Byakuya! I'm trying to get you off of a murder charge here!
It's fine. I guess I'll mark it as correct, for the time being.
Screw you!
Mark it as correct?
He's right. I am not the culprit. I just happened to come across the corpse in the girls' locker room and decided to alter it.
Are you fucking with us right now?
No, I am not effing with you right now. I'm telling you the truth.
He's like, I don't want to use any language here, Buzz. I'm higher than that.
Now I find it very hard to believe.
Go ahead. Find it very hard to believe. You're free to be executed along with the rest of us.
If you're really telling the truth, then why? Why do you do that to his body?
My reasons hardly matter right now. Uncovering the culprit is much more important.
I think he's testing us to make sure he can trust us.
Now then, if it wasn't me, who was it?
Well, I don't think I can say for sure without talking about it a little more.
We're seriously gonna keep going? We're all good, aren't we? I thought it was clear Byakuya did it.
Are you not paying any attention?
No, I'm with Makoto. If there's any doubt whatsoever, we need to explore every possibility, because if we're wrong, we all die here.
That's true. Very well then. I'm with you too.
Damn straight. Count me in.
Do you not have a mind of your own?
Of course I do. What am I, an ant or something?
Anyway, let's discuss this all as a group one more time. We still have time to make our decision.
That's very true.
Our lives are all on the line.
Excellent. Then shall we resume our game of hide and seek?
But if Byakuya didn't do it, then who's the real killer? Who murdered Chihiro? There's one thing we can be for sure. The killer is a guy! Killer is a guy, everyone! Since the crime scene was the boys' locker room, you would need a boys' handbook to get in. Since Leon's handbook is apparently broken, the killer would have had to use their own. In other words, it had to have been a guy. But that's still not enough. I need to find some more clues.
Isn't there a single clue that might lead us to who did it?
Well, clues are one thing, but did nobody get a look at the killer?
I'm sure if someone saw the killer, they would have said something by now.
Perhaps someone saw the victim at some point. Even that might be enough for now.
Yeah. All we need right now is any kind of new info.
It's over. It's all over. You want to know who saw the victim? The killer! And only the killer!
No, it's wrong!
You lie!
I believe someone else did see the victim before he was murdered. What do you think, Celeste?
Now that you mention it, yes. I did see him.
Huh? Really?
Oh, but I suppose only Makoto knows about this. The rest of you had no idea, did you? That is why you're all making such ugly noises.
Whatever! Just hurry up and tell us!
It was last night. right before nighttime. I saw Chihiro in the dormitory warehouse. I saw him stuffing a track jacket into a duffel bag, and then, I assume, he headed off to exercise.
A track jacket and a duffel bag? But we didn't find anything like that at the murder scene.
It seems likely that the culprit destroyed them to get rid of any evidence.
And that is when he said something that struck me as rather odd.
Well, I better get going. I'm kind of in a hurry.
Chihiro told me he was in a hurry. But why would he be in a hurry? Only if someone were waiting for him, I should think.
So, Mr. Fujisaki was on his way to meet with someone, and then they were going to work out together?
But Hina and I had invited him to exercise with us plenty of times, and he always declined.
Because he's a guy!
Probably because he was afraid you'd find out the secret he was hiding, right?
Which means that conversely, he must have trusted whoever he was meeting with very much. Enough so that he was willing to risk his secret being revealed.
What a marvelous friendship!
The point is, whoever he met up with is the culprit, right? So we just gotta figure out who it was.
But knowing what we know, I can't even guess.
No, you already have what you need to make the connection.
I love how smug she is! Like, I'm leading you down the road of truth, and I'm like, I already know it! It's the guy right next to you sweating!
Huh?
You know who the killer is.
Seriously?
Who is it? Who's the killer?
It's you, buddy!
Think back to the track jacket and duffel bag the killer disposed of. Focus on the details of these items, and it should become obvious who was waiting for him.
Are you sure about that? You really think we can figure out who did it based on 2 pieces of evidence that we don't have?
Why? You want to track down some fingerprints or something?
Even if we had the equipment for that, we wouldn't know how to use it.
As was noted, the evidence is already gone. There's nothing to get fingerprints from.
Maybe, but we can make certain inferences if we just take the time to talk it out.
Easy for you to say, but fine. Celeste, did you notice anything special about the bag or jacket? The bag was just a normal duffel bag from the warehouse.
Keep your other observation to yourself,
All the bags
please.
in there are the same, so I can't imagine what would make that one special.
Well, if I remember right, there was a decent variety of tracksuits to choose from. Do you think there might be some connection between the culprit and Chihiro's jacket?
Perhaps. Let's explore that and talk a bit more about the jacket he took.
Does Chihiro's track jacket really hold some clue about the killer? Yes. Somehow it's really hard to believe. Obviously we're doing Celeste's account.
First of all, we know where Chihiro was heading. He was on his way to go exercise. So next we have to ask, why did he choose the specific tracksuit that he did?
What do you mean, the specific tracksuit?
I got it! He picked that tracksuit because it matched the one the culprit was wearing.
So, what you're saying is, the killer was wearing the same blue tracksuit as him?
No! You loser! And this, Mondo!
Hold on a second, Mondo. What did you just say?
Huh? What'd I say?
When Celeste testified a few minutes ago, she said...
Nobody but Celeste would know what the color tracksuit was. I saw him stuffing a tracksuit into his duffel bag. And then I assumed he was heading off to exercise.
She never said anything about the jacket's color. So why did you say Chihiro's blue tracksuit?
What are you... You just...
Loser!
Hey, Celeste, what color was Chihiro's tracksuit?
As a matter of fact, it was blue.
And before we began the trial, did you tell anyone that?
Besides
The
me.
only one I told about any of this was you.
Then, Mondo, how did you know what color Chihiro's tracksuit was?
Because I just...
Loser!
I'm sure he saw the clothes at some point in the investigation.
No, that can't be it. The bag and clothes were surely disposed of by the time we began our investigation.
Then the only reason he could have known what color the tracksuit was is if he saw Cherry with it before he died! That's the only possibility!
Cherry?
Are you talking about Chihiro? How about it? Did you see the tracksuit or didn't you?
Just by chance. I just happened to see it last night. He walked past me, and he was carrying the tracksuit in his hands.
No, that can't be it either.
For Celeste's testimony, she stuffed the jacket in her bag in a hurry. It was almost like she was trying to hide it. And just like that, she was gone.
When Celeste noticed it, Chihiro made a point of making sure the jacket was completely in the bag. If you just ran into him briefly, you couldn't possibly have seen what color the tracksuit was.
It would appear you've dug your own grave.
Perhaps. But you handed him the shovel, didn't you? That's why you said what you did. Focus on the tracksuit and it'll be obvious who he met with? What a bunch of nonsense.
Screw you, champion!
Ah, now I understand. It was all one big bluff, wasn't it? Your true intention was to draw a slip of the tongue from the culprit. That's why you said you knew he did it, to put them on edge.
That's right. However, Mondo was my target all along. I had my suspicions about him from the very beginning.
You're not the next attorney! You can't do that finger point!
But why? What made you so suspicious?
That's a good question. There was a certain turning point that tipped me off. Maybe you didn't notice it, Mondo, but you tend to refer to men and women differently. You only call guys dude. For girls, it's chick. And after he was killed, you happened to refer to him as dude.
I knew it!
Once I picked up on that, it occurred to me that Mondo knew something we didn't.
Did you notice such a tiny detail?
I noticed such a tiny detail! Screw you!
Are you awake?
And I'm the
You're
inconvenience!
positively frightful!
No, I'm not the frightful one. Not nearly as frightful as someone capable of murdering a friend.
Mondo, was it really you? Did you really kill Chihiro?
I didn't kill anyone! You've been all over me, judging everything I say, putting words in my mouth.
I don't think we have. We've been mainly judging Byakuya in this case.
What gives you the right to treat me like a goddamn criminal?
Yeah! He would never do something like that! This is a false accusation!
It's true. My reasoning on that is pretty shaky.
That was fast.
Well, this does present us with a problem. It seems we are all out of leads.
My time has nearly come. That's what my little ghost friend is telling me.
Oh yeah, that reminds me. Hifumi, weren't you telling me you found some evidence?
Really? What kind of evidence?
Actually, now that I'm thinking about it...
Jeez, does your confidence just get up and walk away? It's fine, man. Just tell us.
If you really insist, then... Here it is.
What do you have there?
It happens to be an e-handbook. I found it laying on the ground, so I scooped it up.
You found it on the ground, right? Then it must be... It's Chihiro's.
We know Chihiro's handbook was missing from the scene of the crime, right?
For a fact.
For a fact indeed. I was totally sure I'd found it.
Then it must hold some clue about the culprit, right?
Well, that's what I was hoping. But it's busted. It won't even turn on.
I imagine the culprit broke it to get rid of any evidence after the murder.
That's odd. I didn't think the handbooks were quite so fragile.
You're right. They're not. They're totally waterproof and shock resistant. It would take an awful lot to break one.
And yet, this one does appear to be broken, as is Leon's, sitting useless in the main hall. For all your confidence, that is a remarkably high failure rate.
Do you think there might be some kind of mystery in there somewhere? How precisely did the handbooks get broken?
Hitting their weak point.
I got it! You already told us before that the handbook has one weak point, didn't you?
Yeah! You remember that? Sure, maybe I let that slip, but I never told anyone what the weak point actually was.
But if the handbook is supposed to never break, and two of them broke in quick succession,
then we can only assume that someone's figured out its weakness. You know what the weakness is, right, Monokuma? So, what is it?
You're asking me?
I think it's a necessary piece of information if you want this to be a fair trial.
But if I tell you, and someone else decides to copy it, that would be very not good.
Just tell us already! Why would we want to break our own handbooks?
Oh well, I have a weakness for pushy demands. But you're sure you won't follow their example?
We won't!
Then allow me to make a special announcement. The weak point of my cutting-edge e-handbook is... when it's exposed to high temperatures for too long, it will suffer a meltdown and totally break!
I flippin' knew it!
You knew it?
Yeah, because I found the handbook laying on the floor of the sauna.
The temperature in the sauna can reach over 200 degrees. Strange how you don't get burnt, huh? It's because as your sweat evaporates, it creates a cooling layer of air around your skin. If the hot air of the sauna were somehow pushed directly onto your skin, you'd definitely get fried. That layer of air would get blown away. That's why you may feel a burning when you move around. So when you're in a sauna, make sure to keep nice and still.
Interesting. I learned one new fact today.
That is a mere trifling speck of knowledge.
Anyway, if you found the victim's handbook in the sauna, then the killer must have been purposely trying to raise its temperature in order to break it.
meaning the culprit somehow knew its weakness.
But how'd they find out? Monokuma said he didn't tell anyone, right?
But if Leon's was broken, then Leon knew.
What if they found out by accident?
What do you mean by accident?
What if the killer took their own handbook into the sauna, not knowing its weakness, and it broke? They'd realize it was broken, of course, and it wouldn't be hard to figure out why. And once they had Chihiro's handbook, they knew they had an easy way to dispose of it.
Because of your stupid sauna
I
challenge!
wouldn't say it's not possible, but who would have done something like that? I don't know of anyone who took their handbook into the sauna.
I might know someone who did.
Whoa! Seriously?
I think the one who may have taken their handbook into the sauna was...
You know too, Taka!
Here's my answer! Mondo, your handbook got broken in the sauna, didn't it?
What? Why? Why do you keep accusing him?
Mondo and Taka had an endurance contest in the sauna not too long ago, remember? And for the contest, Mondo just so happened to keep his school uniform on. But little did he realize, he'd also left his handbook in one of his uniform pockets. And when it was all over, Mondo discovered that taking your handbook into the sauna could easily destroy it.
No, wait, hold on. You got it all wrong. He would never kill. I don't accept this. Show me the proof. The actual solid proof.
I mean, I don't want to believe it either, but I found something that proves it beyond a shadow of a doubt. The broken handbook is his handbook, not Leon's. Interesting. Holy shit, 5!
Let's test Makoto's assertion. If what he says is correct, then Mondo, you broke your own handbook.
In other words, if Mondo's handbook is actually broken, then that proves that what Makoto said is right.
Well, my goddamn handbook works just fine!
Shoot!
See? Look! Makoto was Mondo wouldn't hurt a fly!
Screw you! Alright, we gotta try this again. Got that one area.
Let's test Makoto's assessment. If what he says is you broke your own handbook.
In other words, if Mondo's handbook is actually broken, then that proves that what Makoto said is right.
Well, my goddamn handbook works just fine!
No!
See? Look! Makoto was Mondo wouldn't hurt a fly!
I gotta cover a bunch of those things! God!
Let's test Makoto. If what he said you broke your own. In other words, if Mondo's handbook is actually broken, then that proves that what Makoto said is right.
Well, my goddamn handbook works just fine!
No!
Look! Makoto was Mondo wouldn't hurt a fly!
I hate that! That's horrible!
Let's test if what he said you broke your own hand. In other words, if Mondo's handbook is actually broken, then that proves that what Makoto said is right.
Well, my goddamn handbook works just fine!
See?
No!
Look! Makoto was Mondo wouldn't hurt a fly!
That's so stupid! Okay, gotta try again.
Let's test Makoto. If what he said you broke your own. In other words, if Mondo's hand, then that proves that what Makoto...
Well, my goddamn handbook works just fine!
No!
See? Makoto was Mondo wouldn't hurt a fly!
I'm having a fun time with this! It's so stupid!
Let's test Makoto. If what he said you broke your own.
I want a rewind button
if
too,
then that
though.
proves that what Makoto said...
Well, my goddamn handbook works just fine!
See? Look! Makoto was Mondo wouldn't hurt a fly!
Alright, so I need to aim it at the top part.
Let's test Makoto's. If what he said you broke your own. In other words, if Mondo's handbook is actually broken, then that proves that what Makoto said is right.
Well, my goddamn handbook works just fine!
See? Makoto was Mondo
Okay, so
wouldn't
I
hurt
gotta
a
try
fly!
it again! I hate this! This is the most stupid thing in the world! Because you have to hit all the stuff.
Let's test Makoto's assertion.
I hate this. This is quite honestly the most stupid part of the game. Alrighty.
If what he says is correct, then Mondo, you broke your own handbook.
In other words, if Mondo's handbook is actually broken, then that proves that what Makoto said is right.
Well, my goddamn handbook works just fine!
See? Makoto was Mondo wouldn't hurt a fly!
I hate that! I hate that so much! I'm really getting into annoying mode with
Let's
this.
test Makoto's assertion. If what he says is correct, then Mondo, you broke your own handbook.
In other words, if Mondo's handbook is actually broken, then that proves that what Makoto said is right.
Well, my goddamn handbook works just fine!
See? Makoto was wrong after all! Mondo wouldn't hurt a fly!
I have a minute left! This is getting really irritating. Like, I don't even know why this is stupid.
Let's test Makoto's assertion.
I know what I need
What
to
he
hit,
says
but
is
I'm
correct,
not able to
then
hit it.
Mondo, you broke your own handbook.
In other words, if Mondo's handbook is actually broken, then that proves that what Makoto said is right.
Well, my goddamn handbook works just fine!
No!
Look! Makoto was wrong after all! Mondo wouldn't hurt a fly!
Can I change the difficulty? Because this is so awkward.
Test Mondo's assertion. If what he says is correct, then Mondo, you broke your own handbook.
In other words, if Mondo's handbook is actually broken, then that proves that what Makoto said is right.
Well, my goddamn handbook works just fine!
No, that's wrong!
I figured out it! God, that was so stupid!
Mondo, the handbook you have
so
right now.
Stupid!
Is it really yours?
The fuck is that supposed to mean?
The broken handbook that was in the main hall. Isn't that one actually yours?
What the heck are you talking about?
What I mean is, I think Mondo swapped his handbook out for one that actually works. I think he took Leon's handbook and replaced it with his own. After all, Monokuma said himself that Leon's handbook never should have broken.
That's right! The punishment it suffered wasn't nearly enough to destroy it.
So then, the broken handbook in the main hall is actually Mondo's, which would mean that the handbook Mondo has right now is actually Leon's, yes?
But doesn't that violate the school regulation that says loaning out your handbook is prohibited?
Well, here's how I look at it. There is a rule about loaning your handbook to another student, but if they're dead, they're not a student. It's kind of a gray area, I admit. But no worries. If anything, it just makes things more interesting. As such, I decree that exchanging handbooks with a corpse is not a violation of the rules.
Well, you little thing!
Well, Mondo, if I'm wrong about this, you're welcome to say so. I'm happy to admit I made a mistake, but...
Son of a bitch! What's wrong, bro? Come on! Tell him he's wrong!
Oh, Kiyotaka, I'm so sorry!
You are wrong! You have to be wrong! Everything you just said is wrong! You made it all up!
I made nothing up, you...
Okay, then why don't we look back on this case one more time, from the beginning? That way, everything will become clear, and we'll all see if I was right or wrong.
This part! This part! This... Then... There we go. Poster gets blood on it. Shakira's dead. Rolls up. The poster has to be taken down. Then everything moved to the poster getting put up. Alright, and then getting the power cord. There's so many fake ones in here. I'm just like, what actually is happening next? That's it.
killer is you! First,
Thank God this thing
let's
gives
take
me
a
enough
look
time
back
to do
before
this.
the incident. Last night, Celeste saw Chihiro in the warehouse, correct? At the time, she was apparently stuffing something into a duffel bag. That something was a blue tracksuit. You can confirm this, right, Celeste? With bag in hand, Chihiro headed out, even though it was officially nighttime. She made her way to the locker room, specifically the boys' locker room. But how could the victim, who was apparently a girl, access the boys' locker room? Simple, because she was really a he, which is why he was able to use his own handbook to gain entrance to the boys' locker room. Once inside, he met with someone there. And the person he met was the one who killed him. It seems likely that the killer grabbed the nearby dumbbell, approached the unsuspecting Chihiro, and attacked him. And that's where the bloodstains on the poster and carpeting in the boys' locker room came from.
Oh, God.
It was likely in the heat of the moment. The body was arranged, but the murder itself felt unplanned. Which is why the killer hurried to try and hide the act. First, pulling up the bloodstained carpet. Then, removing the bloody poster. And finally carrying the corpse into the girls' locker room. A girl's handbook was necessary to get into the locker room, of course. But this alone doesn't prove that the killer was necessarily a girl. After all, Sayaka and Junko's handbooks had been placed in the main hall. Using one of those, a boy could get into the girls' locker room without much problem. And that's exactly how the killer did it. With the carpet and the poster they brought with them, they got to work. They changed the layout of the boys' and girls' locker room in what you might call a crime scene switch. That could have been the end of things, but no. Byakuya discovered the body and decided to intervene in the situation, making things even more complicated. So, after stumbling on the crime scene, he went and grabbed the extension cord from the library, and then he got to work. He used the cord to string up Chihiro's lifeless body. Then, using the victim's own blood, he left a grisly message there at the scene of the crime. He wanted to create the illusion that Genocide Jack was responsible for the slaughter. And around the same time that Byakuya was putting together this facade, the killer, having already disposed of Chihiro's bag and other belongings, arrived at the sauna. There, they planned to destroy the last piece of evidence, Chihiro's handbook. And just as the killer expected, the steamy sauna was enough to ruin the electronic gadget. Somehow, the killer knew that the handbook couldn't stand up to the heat of the sauna. And the reason they knew that is because the sauna had already wrecked their own handbook. And that's how it all played out. Isn't that right, Mondo Owada?
Ain't that right, cornhead?
Wait! No, this can't be right. Where's your evidence? Yeah, where's your evidence? You need evidence! You need proof!
Screw you!
Without any proof, you can't pin any of this on him!
I know that he's your bro, but dude, bro! Evidence that Mondo is the killer. That already revealed itself earlier in the trial. All I have to do is check that one item of his and everything will become clear. A new element has been added to the bullet time battles. Would you like to hear more? Yes! Let's talk this time about fever time and nigga time. During a bullet time battle, if you press the R1 button, fever time will activate and the tempo will be forced to its max. Hello, Bryce! At this point, even if you push the buttons at random, you won't miss. So you can push X, square, however you want to destroy the opponent's verbal assault. But this only lasts until your focus gauge runs out, so make the best possible use of your time. Of course, it won't be fair if you only got access to special time, right? So we've also prepared something called nigga time that your opponent can use. Crap! If the opponent activates nigga time during the bullet time battle, your tempo marker will disappear, making it quite a bit tougher to hit the buttons in rhythm. If you were to activate fever time at this point... No, never mind, I'm sure nothing would happen. I don't know what I was worried about. Unsurprisingly, if your action difficulty is set to gentle, the opponent won't use nigga time. Well then, good luck and have fun! Moment of truth. I'm not even fighting against the other guy!
Show me some evidence! You're wrong! I won't listen! I refute you! False! Show me some evidence! I won't listen! I refuse to vote! Show me some evidence! You're wrong! I won't listen! I refute you! False! Show me some evidence! I won't listen! You're corrupt! I refuse to vote! I refute you! False! You're corrupt! Show me some evidence! I won't listen! Show me some evidence! You're wrong! I won't listen! I refute you! False! Show me some evidence! I won't listen! I refuse to vote! Show me some evidence! You're wrong! I won't listen! I refute you! False! Show me some evidence! Show me some evidence!
This should prove it!
Ah! That went so well!
If my thinking so far
I
is
have
right...
no clue what my difficulty is set to, Bryce. I have absolutely no clue because I don't remember it.
Mondo must have
You have to look at
replaced his
episode 1 to
broken
see what I did.
handbook with Leon's. In which case, we can just check each of our handbooks right now.
It's more that negative one that I hate because I couldn't... You can't see what
Once
your
we do that, we'll...
time is.
We don't gotta do that.
Huh?
Yeah. Yeah. I did it. I killed him.
Oh, Mondo! You're like the person I was hoping wasn't gonna be a killer. Because I realized you were. Hey!
Bro! What are you saying?
I hope I'm ready for the crazy execution that's coming! Well, that doesn't
I
help
got no
me.
choice, man. After hearing all that, I gotta just... give up. Go ahead, Monokuma. Get it over with. Ask for the goddamn verdict.
Roger that!
Wait! Hold on!
No waiting! No holding on! Time for the moment we've all been waiting for! Grab your lever and give it a yank!
Oh, I feel so bad for Taka.
Who will you elect as the Blackened this time around? Will you make the right choice or the dreadfully wrong one? What's it gonna be? What's it gonna be?
looks like you got it right again! Yes, it is so! The Blacken that killed Chihiro Fujisaki was... Mondo! Cornhead.
Unbelievable.
In case you're wondering, the vote was not unanimous. Kiyotaka chose the wrong answer. You're treading very close to a danger zone, Mr. Ishimaru. You need to be more careful. I refuse to believe it. There's no way he would kill someone.
Sorry.
What is this?
Why are you apologizing? Why? Why did you do it?
Now then.
Well, it looks like Mondo's taken a vow of silence, so allow me to explain on his behalf.
Actually...
The story of murder this time is the sad story of two men. But for anyone who doesn't really want to hear it, you can click the circle button to fast forward the text. Well, I want to hear it. Anyway, there was once a young boy, and his name was Chihiro Fujisaki. He had an extreme inferiority complex regarding his own lack of strength. You're so weak even though you're a boy. He heard things like that as long as he could remember, and he couldn't overcome his weakness. It's Kuwabara. I totally get it. He totally has the same hair as Kuwabara. I get the comparison. On the contrary, he tried to hide and bury himself further and further in that weakness, to take on the fragile form of a petite young girl. He had chosen that as his way out. Now, nobody will be able to say anything about even though you're a boy. But no matter how tightly he wrapped himself up in that shell, the inferiority complex had already taken a deep root inside of him, and was not so easily weeded out. As it turned out, the shell was completely empty. The complex didn't disappear, instead it only grew stronger and stronger. I'm weak.
Weak.
Oh. Once the killing game had begun here at the school, he had no choice but to accept this fact. After all, this world of survival of the fittest, if you're not strong, you don't survive! And then the lovely and hateful Monokuma announced revealing of the embarrassing secrets. Which of course include Chihiro's embarrassing secret, which I was more than willing to divulge. Even though that he dresses like a girl, Chihiro is actually a boy.
Hey,
And that it was something Chihiro couldn't let anyone find out, no matter the cost. If that was revealed, it would be the end. The hardened shell would crack, the armor would fall away. Without a doubt, those around him would torture him more than ever before. Everyone figured being thrust into such dilemma must have sent him spiraling into despair.
What?
And yet...
I'm sorry.
I don't really want to talk about it right now.
But
I also don't want to leave things the way they are, so maybe I can talk about it later. After I try my best to become strong, then I can tell everyone. Annoyingly, he used the threat of discovery to motivate himself to become stronger.
That's right.
Now's my chance.
I want to change.
I'm going to get stronger and accept who I am. Strong enough so that when someone says, even though you're a boy, I'll be okay, I'll get better. With that thought at the front of his mind, he resolved to take immediate action. And so, that day he made a commitment to begin exercising. He was prepared to retain his mind and body. But sadly, that would be the first and only chance he would get at it.
Hey,
When he decided to start exercising, he thought it would be good to ask for someone's help. And he wanted to tell the person his secret first, and then ask them to help him from there on. And that person he went to...
Yeah, that's right.
It was me. Yeah, it sure was! The biker gang fella had been painfully clear about how important his manly promises were. So Chihiro probably figured that even if he confided in Mondo, his honor would make Plus, Mr. Macho Mondo was a very symbol of a strong man that Chihiro had always aspired to. Maybe talking to Mondo about it will give me some courage. So he went and asked Mondo for help to become strong. That was his aspiration. And he thought that only with Mondo's support would he ever be able to come close to that.
Correct.
So then, it must be why Mondo did what he did to keep the promise he made to Chihiro. Huh? Did what he did? You mean that's why Mondo carried Chihiro from the boys' locker room to the girls' locker room?
Indeed.
Yes, that's exactly what I mean. Wasn't that just to cover up what he'd done?
Certainly.
That could have been part of it, but I don't think it was the main reason. The real purpose was to keep the promise between men he'd made with Chihiro. But how does moving the body keep a secret?
Because
if everyone knew he'd been killed in the boys' locker room, then everyone would have been arguing about how she got into the boys' locker room, right? Once that started up, at least a few of us would have immediately begun to suspect his identity. So, he tried to protect Chihiro's secrets by putting her in the girls' locker room. Then Mondo did all that to keep a promise he made to Chihiro, who he'd also killed? Why would he do that? The more I hear you talk, the more I don't understand. I mean, you guys trusted each other, right? So why did you? Because, no matter what, I didn't want anyone to know.
I knew it.
So that's what triggered it after all. The possibility of having your embarrassing memories and secrets exposed.
What is this?
That's impossible. Nothing could have been that bad. Something he didn't want anyone to know? Even if it meant killing someone?
You're wrong.
That's impossible.
Don't make me repeat myself.
How many times must I repeat myself? To judge others by your own standards is a height of folly. Even if you can't comprehend it, he obviously can, and that's all there is to it. We had somebody kill somebody, and now we figure out who they are. That's the gist of it, Cameron. Although I would suggest just watching as much as you can. Because it's hard to just tell you what's going on, because, God, I'm still trying to get what's going on. Hell, while we're on that subject, why don't I tell you? That embarrassing memory, that secret you didn't want anyone to know.
Hey,
Oh, but they killed this time because Monokuma decided he was going to release our secrets if one of us didn't kill somebody within 24 hours. Do you know what Mondo did? He killed his own brother. Oh my God! What? What? What the hell? After all that you talked about your brother? Oh my God! Mondo, the ultimate bike gang leader, makes all the hoodlums and riffraff across the country tremble. But the only reason he had the chance to join a gang in the first place was because of certain someone. Mondo's older brother name was Daya Owada. Mondo had nothing but respect for him. It was because of Daya that Mondo ever got on a motorcycle. Mondo's brother was his only family growing up. He was the only one Mondo could trust or respect. He wanted to measure up to his big brother, so he imitated him in everything he did. Mondo was the epitome of a starry-eyed kid brother. Meanwhile, the charismatic older brother had put together the local motorcycle gang. And before anyone knew it, it had grown into the biggest biker gang in the country. Daya, the older brother, #1 in the gang, and his #2, his younger brother, Mondo. In the beginning, everything was peaches and gravy. But when Mondo started to think about how he would have to take over the gang from his brother someday, his brother's greatness, his reputation began to gnaw on Mondo's very soul. The kid's gonna take over for Daya, huh? Daya created this gang with his bare hands. Mondo's just along for the ride. Can someone like that really be our leader? All he'll do is make the gang look bad. Almost every day, Mondo heard the gossip and whispers of the other members of the gang. Bum, bum, bum! Which is why...
I just...
Gotta get stronger. Stronger than Daya. Once, just one time. No matter what, I gotta win. Sorry, I went into Monokuma's voice for a second.
Don't fuck with me.
I don't care what it takes. I gotta come out on top. retirement a ceremony. Mondo challenged him to a street race. But during the race, tragedy struck. The kid brother pushed ahead with reckless abandon, eager for victory, and dashed into oncoming traffic. And suddenly... oh my god! Lying in his kid brother's arms, the older brother delivered his final words. My bad, kid. I fucked up. Sorry. Of course he knew it was his brother's fault, but Daya never blamed him for what happened. Hey kid, the rest is up to you. No matter what happens, you gotta keep the gang together. Cause it's the team you and me put together. It's a promise between men. We really getting into some Yu Yu Hakusho shit here. He decided to hide the truth of what had happened from everyone else in the gang. In order to keep the gang together and keep the promise to his brother. He could never admit to anyone that it was his own weakness that caused the accident. And as a result, the team was made even stronger under the banner of the kid who'd bested his big brother. Daya was going to lose to his kid brother, so he got stupid and got himself killed. That became the explanation for what happened. Mondo's lie became the truth. He wanted to lead a team so bad, he was willing to tell all kinds of lies about his brother. I'm just strong.
Yeah.
Strong, 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 strong! And yet... as soon as our killing game began, he realized, no matter how tough he pretended to be, it was just another weakling that could die in an instant. And then the lovely and hateful Monokuma announced the revealing of embarrassing secrets! At that point, it was clear I would have no problem shedding light on his secret. Mondo killed his older brother!
Yeah.
No matter what, I couldn't let the other gang members find out. If that happened, everything would have been ruined. Everything me and my brother had built, would be destroyed. Bleh, bleh, bleh. His death, all the guilt I've been carrying around, it would have been for nothing. So that's why... Mondo.
Yeah.
After I saw what Monokuna had on me, my head filled with all kinds of fuzzy unease, and I just started swirling around. I'd never felt anything like that before.
I just
didn't know what to do about it. I wasn't sure what to think or say, but after a while that fuzziness and unease turned itself into a rock-hard lump of anxiety way down in my stomach. And it was right around then that Chihiro asked me to start working out with him. And right there he told me a secret. Seriously? Jesus!
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry I lied to you.
Yeah.
But why? Why now? Why are you telling me this all of a sudden? Huh? Because, I mean, you've kept that secret all this time, right? If anyone found out, you would...
But...
You're right, but...
I want to change.
I want to change? Oh, dear God. I wrapped myself in lies. I'm weak. I want to destroy that version of me forever. His words were like a knife to my gut. I felt like he was exposing the lie I'd been living myself. I have to change. I don't want to be weak anymore. You're so strong. I can't hurt you, right? Whatever secret Monokuma might tell us.
You piece of...
So what? You're saying I should just say it?
What?
You're saying if I really am, I should just be able to tell everyone my secret? Huh? I was jealous. I was jealous of Chihiro's strength. He had the strength to face his own weakness and try to overcome it. It was the kind of strength I never had. So I was jealous of him. And that jealousy broke me.
What? What?
Are you making fun of me? I'm strong? Are you fucking with me right now?
No!
I'm not making fun of you. You really are strong, Mondo. I felt like I could hear something starting to creak. Something inside my head. What did he want me to do? What was I supposed to do? What was I supposed to just sit back, let my secrets get revealed and ruin everything?
What's wrong?
Damn
Why
you!
didn't you have to tell me all that? Are you trying to rub my failure in my face?
I just wanted to...
Just really admire you. I admire your strength.
Yeah, that's right.
That's right. I am strong. Strong. I'm strong. Strong. Stronger than you.
You son of a bitch!
I'm stronger than Daya. I don't remember anything after that. When I woke up again, he was lying at my feet, covered in blood. I had the dumbbell in my hand, and I was just staring at him, down on the ground. Killed him.
I killed Chihiro. Even after all this time, I'm still just as weak as I've always been.
I want to know why you switch at times like this into voiceover. It doesn't make sense.
Thanks to that, I did something I can never take back.
Mondo. He was normally so aggressive, so angry. He hid that weak side away from everyone. That was his secret. A weakness like that lived in a heart like his. It turned him cold-blooded. God damn it! Screw you, bear! Look at him, you see? You're all just like him. For a secret from the past, for a memory. For that, he killed another living human in cold blood. He couldn't cut free from his regret from the outside world. He doesn't know what true strength is. Do you see hope anywhere in there? 'Cause I sure don't. You bastard! Just shut up, you son of a bitch! Go ahead and say that again, I dare you!
Yep.
Okay, I'll say it as many times as I want, is what I want to say, but... Unfortunately, I can't do that right now, because the time for punishing is fast approaching. Punishing?
It can't be.
You mean execution?
Well now.
That's what I promised you, right? The blackened that disturbs the peace will be punished.
Ridiculous.
Hold on.
Now then, I prepared a very special punishment.
For Mondo Iwata, the ultimate fake gang leader! No, wait!
Let's give it everything we've got. It's punishment time!
Oh, dear God! I said wait!
Sorry, man. I couldn't keep the promise we made. From one man to another.
Oh. How bad is this gonna be? Game over. Mondo has been found guilty. Time for the punishment. Shh. Okay, that's massively creepy. He's on a bike. Oh dear God. Oh dear God. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. What the hell? What in the world is that? Oh my goodness. What the? It's not as brutal as the first one, but that's creepy. Life and death in your soul will forever be at peace. It can't be. My brother. Another murder and another execution. I want to feel again. Everyone's lives are taken so lightly here. I feel like I might be going mad. Maybe I'll just let it happen? dreams and bathed our skulls, we were forced to realize once again. But he, of course, he had to. What a disappointment. This is the end of the game. Byakuya?
What is this?
You're completely insane! Well, you don't want to know how Mondo butter tastes, because then you'd be a cannibal. Boom, boom, bad jokes. Because it's not really a joke. You really would be a cannibal if you ate Mondo butter. You're completely insane, you know that? A game? One of our friends is dead. Did you realize that?
Naturally.
Of course I do. But this game is life or death.
Hey.
I don't have anything to say to you. I don't have a response except that I just don't understand why. Why did you go out of your way to disguise Mondo's crime?
What?
Why? Isn't it obvious? Because it made things more interesting. His voice was calm, emotionless, like the voice of death. It chilled me to the bone. Last night, when the murder took place, I was in the library as usual.
Honestly.
So you ignored the nighttime rule, too? That rule never mattered to me. I don't recall agreeing to it.
There is nothing to be done.
Well, I don't particularly care. Please continue. The night grew late, and I decided to return to my room, which is when I stumbled upon him. I spied Mondo coming out of the girls' locker room. After he had gone, I looked inside and I saw the corpse. You mean you actually witnessed the murder? He was such a fool. He didn't have the slightest idea I'd seen him.
Well...
So you're saying you knew who the culprit was from the very beginning?
That's right.
Indeed. But if it had been the end of it, how boring would that have been? I mean, what a waste of time to have the answer revealed right at the beginning. Which is why I decided to lend a little helping hand. I thought it would liven things up. You did all of that to liven things up! Oh, you son of a...
I see.
To create a fake murder scene. But damn, man, if we hadn't figured out who really done it, you would have been dead too, right? Well, obviously I would have revealed the truth before it reached that point, and at that point, who do you think would believe you? I don't think any of us would have believed you at that point! Of course. Byakuya turned and looked me in the eye. I could feel his sharp gaze piercing into me. Thanks to a certain remarkable someone, it never did, and I was able to perform an interesting experiment. Once I do decide to become blackened, I now know who I'll have to watch out for. Oh yeah! Oh yes, that means you have to watch out for me because I would own you! I would own you! Yeah. What?
Correct.
So, that was your reason. Are you satisfied?
Indeed.
Yes, we're done listening to your story. Moving on.
Hey.
There's something I'd like to ask Monokuma.
What's this?
Oh, I'm next!
You
You like to perform these elaborate executions each time, correct? My question is why? Boo-hoo, do you like them? But you know this punishment, this despair, it's not just for you. This punishment, this despair is my gift to mankind itself.
What?
You're over-exaggerating. I'm not over-exaggerating. These punishments are meant to transform all hope into despair.
Damn.
What do you mean? 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 Mean!
What the heck?
Mean! Good grief! I don't understand why you have to pick apart every little stupid thing! Whatever, it doesn't matter. In the end, I'm going to stand alone as the victor, and that everything will be revealed to me.
Ooh,
I'm a noble son of a noble family. Truly, you understand me. Woohoo! I think that's the start of a terrifying friendship.
That's enough.
Shut up. I would never stoop to the level of a childish criminal like you. Let me just say this. After I've achieved complete victory, you're up next. I'm going to find you and kill you, understand?
In the name of my family.
In the name of the Togami family, for which victory is a foregone conclusion. See, Byakuya is the kind of person you just don't want to be on the enemy side. Like, damn Byakuya! I don't want to fight you! At the same time, goddamn Byakuya, you could save me so much effort!
You're getting all riled
Oh,
up.
so cool! It's like you're the main character of a video game or something. No trash map for you. I'm the main character here! I swear, whatever it takes, I will kill you. paper peeled across the courtroom and the curtain closed on the case of Chihiro and Mondo. But I knew it wasn't the end. The killing game would still continue, because the mastermind wouldn't let it end. For those of us who were still alive, our worst fear and despair kept on multiplying. It was the kind of despair that felt like a blind puppy in the hell, had more of a future than us. All of our courage, all our effort, all our friendship, it felt like it amounted to nothing at all. It was the worst kind of despair.
Well, anyway, like I was saying, this is a pretty good spot. Yeah, a really good spot. Anyway, isn't it amazing how that girl went and killed someone before things even had a chance to get boring? Once things really get moving, it'll be like a roller coaster. Fear and despair charge forward at a speed nothing can hope to match. But I must admit, I'm disappointed. I went to all the pain and effort of making you part of the group, and you couldn't play your part. You do remember you were supposed to make the first move, right? Well, no biggie.
He's joking like I quit! Is she a part of this? I think it's her!
Nothing we can do about it now, so just do your best to make things more exciting from now on, okay? After all, that's what everyone wants to see.
There's one thing I'd like to ask you.
As long as you don't want to know my measurements, fire away!
Bear! No one wants to know your measurements. Who is it? 16th high school student. Oh, 16!
You really took me by surprise there. I know I said you could ask anything, but... Super denied, ultra denied, demonic denied! Because you see, that's my ace in the hole. And
well,
nobody'd be dumb enough to reveal that, right? No matter how close they were to their friends.
Well, that's either Junko or one of the other students is actually a traitor. I don't want to think that one of the other students is also a traitor. That'd be horrible. We're down to 10! I want to at least get 6 of these people out of here! Is that something I can do? Can we at least get 6 out of here? Got an item! Crazy diamond. You received the crazy diamond present. Yes? Alright, we're gonna actually end before I do anything else on this. Thank you all for joining me. I'm gonna go get lunch, and then I'll come back probably in the next hour or so, and we'll continue on, see how far we can get into Chapter 3. We're gonna try our best to get this game finished by the end of the week. Hopefully. That's my dream. I don't know how good we'll do at this, but God, let's see how much we can figure out other cases. Thank you all so much for joining me, and I will catch you all on the flip side. Bye, everyone.